ofisa mkulu alikwata makandeni pala bamundubire pano lipaka subaka tandemona ndeti pa 13 August abantu bandi kuno kunsa amachifuto bale mipere kwa tema politics tulelanda abantu ikiri mu mind munyabo ni change pafyole ne bale ikala yete bale mona mu wika shibwamo echo bale fu afiri change yeba mundu biyete ku mitemo ba mitemenwe abantu ikiri pofe yene yali pali chiuba atuefu afe change so muri change yimona yimwele mwana isa muri change wombere bikwa
kana besa sosa abantu bale ku
wombere abantu bale fu afe change wombere ni abantu ba mundu bile kumyeno beba taka kila kamushi ni kumyeno mukwa itete tupose bya abantu inshita pya muri sanfwe fifina muna mwaisa efyo tusaka maneni na amafoni bali tushimya na mayoboli se bana lumanga bali tushimya so na tepa neve na sepi tuiswire ni kwa amafoni keru pia tulelomba kulimo tulelomba pyo kuyantanshi
uli na menso amone uli na matuna nkonfwe ifyo mpasho ya kwale saule sosa kalande kudu yo akwashe nyari no kuyifisa banta washe nyari awifisa iyo
ya kuvyala no kusombola mwebe na Zambia ichili chose chali kwete chita ya chikope samba ya chalo muikalisha mufi lamba mulelila kuwacha no waila sangeni chita ya kubeba mkusheleza bachalo ulubuto na lumona ako akazu ako bachalo pepanono inyali yena ya sanika ulubuto na lumona ako akazu ako bachalo pepanono inyali yena ya sanika inangwa manja ya fulolu kyangono kukakawa kayele ichetekele inyali yena ya sanika imotwikatane tutemwane tutamvye mwenzaka binga atochosha muno likalanga bana banjiwa inenesa na mumona apa bulave mpabuke ikweshana vipanono inyali yena yalasanika ukuboko na kumona apa bulave mpabuke ikweshana vipanono yalasanika
chali shuke chalo chita padilesi nokutemula lese uvalesa bantu kesango uposushi kalanda kudi yoshe ndeka bashwe nokwa pontela bantu enelesa ka kupingula
mwebale lomba lomba ni mwebo mwala pena mwebali kunumba numba mwala bakuntanshi mwebale sekwa dose ni mwebo mwala sekilila ikwashiana bakono inyali yena yala sanika bantu kurubuto awelwe na wala sanika bemba kwa buke The Bible says in the book of Isaiah 62 verse 1, for Zion's sake will I not hold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as lamp that burneth. Thus says the Lord, arise, Mother Zambia, arise to the highest and soar like an eagle. And thus says the Lord, the milk of plenty and honey, the Lord, as says, has given back to the Lord. The covenant of the Lord shall be preserved under Mother Zambia. Renew your covenant, Mother Zambia. Revisit your stance, Mother Zambia. Never get weary to pray. It is your stance. It is the declaration of the Lord. That some
errors, debt restructuring, the damage in the mines, law and order. Twali wambulaji mwalunga mujoma mwakwera basi weyagulusaga intercity guseruka buyombo woserukira ate basi ya wakujoma bimenye ni batoka kuchoma bimenye ni ati tundu mwezi singombe wakabape abantu bali kumwa ati tundu mwezi ati mbaba hota maningi kuhotela akaende amuba ome winter city sunu yakaba yamwe yakakuba mulaliendela mbomu yanda intercity kunyina umuguma wamuguma ndamwanga banyina bene wabalyawe Zambia, so many things although we have done.
Hakainde watondeka nadi 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 Hakainde watitonda nadi Nchito ni kuyoboya waka Vilaizgo vyose vya waka waka Kusuzgika kwa kura mwe bantu mwe Nadi nadi Hakainde watondeka nadi Watondeka Hakainde watondeka nadi Hakainde watondeka nadi Watondeka Hakainde watondeka nadi Watondeka Hakainde watondeka
Mwantu pakwalesa mwabo mbeni elo konse komletu mfuila mwaiseni. Thank you very much for joining us. Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. It's very important for the issues that we are raising, that you join us and you let as many people as possible join us in the broadcast, because this is about you and what you will do on that day. What will you do on 13th August? And what do you have to do between now and 13th August? Today, we are discussing very key issues. I think this is a subject that will not leave us, because it is clear that you have two strong candidates in President Hakainde Hichilema and Brian Mundubile. The two are going head to head. You can see that Brian will likely do very well in Lusaka, Copperbelt, Northern Muchinga and Eastern Province. President Hakainde Hichilema will also do very well in Southern, Western, Northwestern Province, parts of Central Province. And then there'll be these contestations of how much each of the candidate can influence the other in the provinces that they are strong. That's the purpose of this broadcast, that we update you. It is without doubt that the candidates that have emerged as front runners are two. President Hakainde Hichilema, who felt he had no opposition, and now he has very strong opposition. And Brian Mundubile, who somoke nasomokamo pawa nankwe bonse bena Harry Kalawa, bena Fred Membe, bena KBF and others, asomoka chamone kwati Amazambians overtime trust that this is likely next to be the next president to challenge President Hakainde Hichilema. So we no longer can discuss as who is strong or who needs to do what. It's the clear line between Brian Mundubile and Hakainde Hichilema, and who will take it. Who will take it on August 13th, 2026. We're remaining with 32 days. We'll be doing a countdown. And today we are discussing vote protection, what is involved, ballot security, what is involved, parallel vote tabulation, what is involved, and why you have to turn out to vote. It doesn't matter who you support, how you will determine and change the course of this life of our country if you turn up. These are the key issues we are discussing, but as usual, we'll tackle various issues before I delve deeply into these matters. They'll determine whether Zambia will hold a democratic, credible, transparent, free, and fair elections. These matters are very key to holding that election, to ensuring that the winner who emerges as winner is truly the winner of that election. That way, it's easier for any losing candidate to accept the results and for the winner to celebrate the results. If the election is democratic, if it's transparent, if it's credible, if it's free, and if it is fair. But what do you have to do, you and me? So as I come to that, we delve into the details, share the broadcast. This is very, very key that we deal with these matters. The role of ECZ in all this process. ECZ is supposed to ensure that we hold a free and fair elections. But is ECZ ensuring that we have a free and fair election? Not at all. So the duty remains a citizen's duty. This is your country. The Constitution says you are the bosses. The structure of who holds power is not President Hakainde Hichilema. It is the people, you. You summarize your rights in the Constitution. Then the Constitution has set out mechanisms of who runs the affairs of the country on your behalf. You are the masters. I've seen voters behave like they are servants, begging politicians, being intimidated by politicians. These are your servants. And in an election year, that's when to show them who is boss. This is your time. But this can only be exercised and felt if you are collective, your nature, if you know your rights, and if you exercise that right to vote and protect your vote to ensure that your will is carried out. So I'll delve into the details. Let's go to just a short break. Please share the broadcast. What I will be discussing today is extremely important. Share the broadcast.
Nonkombete nku Ipongo ward, one of the wards in Kembe West. So in the Saku area nkubeta iponkala. But chankankamika novenimiko. Ichi chomutogo na Kristu de yangu. Amuseko mamiyangishi. Cho chikolo, ichi chikolo. Chile tiawategila pa grade 1 mpaka pa grade 7. So chomutogo na chikolo amadeski ngaya aboma. Ngaya amadeski aboma. So mboba shite bantu kuno batopenge kanabo. But yet we have CDF in the coffers of government. We have people that have been assigned to work kwamba ishishikolo bana besukabe yakabutu free education kwamba isekabutu kabutu, but this is not going to be tolerated. Tulete kwamba tuchiteko shindu shipuse nemo kwamba ichiro bana besubake yakabutu muri ndime nembikira ma amuse mubone mbaba tokwira abantu amuse mubone yino njo classroom wino. Classroom mova tokwira bana chikolo ino. This is a classroom. You call this a school. Injo board injo tokwira. Ngama desk. This is my desk niko kabo tungaya nile mbetwe. Kembe CDF 2022. So CDF bakare tama desk bale taunenka muno mukrasi muto waboneka so. And yet people are claiming to work. That's why nebo ndamba kwamba as incoming council chairperson ndete kusebenzela pa pomwi aba MP kwamba itusebenzeka udinoni area itabete wakula alia tabete kwa fupafu pankala pafu ifa. But look at how our children are suffering. Moba tokwira muno teacher kuli ama teachers kubalia saidi kuno kusampisha mushikoro mulisheshi 61 years after independence tujipenga like this. Amone so chikoro ichi so chikoro ichi people are learning like that. It is a pity that our children are being exposed to such. No wonder we need proper leadership. Mali doesn't cover. Bakasangwa abantu. People that voted for those that were put in power to lead them and to help them. But look at this.
Someone says CDF works. Yeah, you can look at Kembe constituency, and one of the aspirants had to go to a school. You wouldn't believe that we have schools like that littered across our country 64 years after independence. Let's get into it. You know, sometimes we need to know what is priority to ourselves as individuals. You know, like they say, we bother to make money, work very hard to make money, and along the way, we usually lose our health and sometimes even our family. And then when we have made the money, then we begin to spend the money, to try to get back either the family or the health that we will have lost. We are usually anxious about the future, that we forget to live today, to do what is important today. And we are absent in the present because we worry about tomorrow. So we live neither in the present nor in the future. Then we live as if we will never die. And when we die as if we never lived, where no one even remembers who you were. I've been persuaded to speak about this. There are a lot of persuasions going on to our royal establishment, our traditional leaders, to key opinion leaders in our country, to the church. They've not been spared, that they, for example, endorse President Hakainde Hichilema. And you, as a man of God, might feel alone. Like, the case of Elijah. You will remember Elijah if you go in Kings. Elijah was troubled that he was the only prophet speaking for God, that he was the only one who was enduring the suffering and attacks by, Queen Jezebel and, her husband, the king. And one time, Elijah went and was hiding in a cave on Mount Horeb. And he was troubled. He cried to God, God, I'm the only one remaining and I don't feel protected. I'm hiding here in a cave. And Lord, you're absent. You're not protecting me. And the answer from God is what surprised Elijah. Elijah says, God said, no, I have 7,000 of my children on their knees praying back in Israel. You are not the only one. There are 7,000 on their knees. I know you feel overwhelmed, you feel exhausted, and you feel like you're carrying the burden for Israel. But I can tell you, there are 7,000 hidden for a purpose. I know there will be few men of God that will be compromised. And many of you who love our country, many of you who are troubled by the welfare of our country, the suffering of our people, you feel that you are alone. You may feel like Elijah, who you think that you are being persecuted by the state. But the Lord has a whisper to you. He says, don't worry. There are other 14,000 knees bending, 7,000 of my children that are praying for Israel. You are not the only one. And do not feel overwhelmed. This is not your battle. It's a Lord's battle. So for those that are feeling persuaded, they feel they are the only ones if they don't compromise, remember, there are 7,000 in the land. They are hidden. You might not see them like Elijah. The king may not see them like he sees Elijah. But the Lord is answering to those prayers. Let's get to it. Share the broadcast. We discuss the matters. Share the broadcast. Let's go to one of the key issues. First, the rallies have progressed very, very well. Very, very well for both parties. President Hakainde Hichilema, with the power of incumbency, has covered more provinces. I think is now on the 7th province. While as we call them, he calls them boys, and everyone has adopted the word, the boys, not in ridicule, but now in reverence of the work that the boys have done. The boys have been to Eastern Province, they've been to Muchinga. They were in Northern Province last week, and this week they are covering Luapula. And the rallies first in Kasama was the largest rally the boys have ever held. And you could see the turnout. And they were split. They tried something in Imporokoso because when they went to pay Katesko to Senior Chief Nsama, they realized that they had run out of time. So they split their two rallies. Makebi Zulu went to Luingu and Brian Mundwile remained at Lunte, the constituency of Mtoto Kafuaya. Felix Mtati used to be an MP in that area. And the two addressed the two major rallies separately. But I think people love the way the two have gelled together. And it appears that our voter want to see them together. They don't want separated. So they've been forced to now continue to do the joint rallies. And it has paid off well. They went and saw the Mwata Kazembe, and they had rallies in Kawambwa, Mwansawombwe, large turnout. But see on these two videos, when Mundubile and Makebi were passing through Mambilima, people waited the whole day because they didn't have a scheduled rally in Mambilima, but people waited by the roadside. And this has been like a road show across the entire provinces where they have been, where people are lining up. One of the good things that we ever did, all of us did, was the issue of community radio stations. And community radio stations do communicate what's happening on the ground, and you can see people turning out. Just check on this. Now, that last video moved me. Those are people rushing to go and attend the political rally that was being held in Zambia yesterday. There are not people being bussed. You can see how they are rushing. They were late for the rally, and you saw the mass of crowd as they were going, rushing for the rally. And this is what we say, that the UPND may be fooling the president, where they are busing people, they are dressing people. Ushe kutua linganya abantu nga. Check this. So the people of Zambia surprised me, but this has been the turnout today. I might draw out a video for Mansa. Mansa was also as big as Kasama. We are yet to compare the two crowds, but Mansa was very, very big. Quickly, the issue of xenophobic attacks in South Africa, I urge government and President Hakainde Hichilema to firmly speak to this matter, the trauma that our people are facing. This is not just a Zambian problem, it's an African problem. And President Cyril Ramaphosa and his government must be put to account. Today we had a company called Southgate. Southgate, you know, was formed in Zambia, is based in Zambia, has thousands of a fleet of trucks that he hires, uses, and has his own. And he was very lucky that he got a lucrative contract to transport fruits and vegetables for ShopRite, goods for these African companies. And you saw a video where they stormed these xenophobic fellas who are marching, harassing communities and businesses. They stormed Southgate in Johannesburg. And you could fear for the life of the owner of the supervisor at Southgate. The issue of xenophobic attacks has come back home. It is hitting our own people. And the number of people we have in the diaspora is the biggest in South Africa. South Africa, when I was Zambia's High Commissioner, had 15,000 Zambians and counting in South Africa. So some could have come, a few could have come, but you have a large community in trauma in South Africa. I urge government and President Hakainde Hichilema to speak to this matter. Continue to share the broadcast. We are 32 days to elections, and today we are talking about vote protection, and I'll be speaking very, very strongly in detail what is required to be done and why it is very important. Wamtalena Lumango's accident is a very serious matter, and it requires thorough investigations. And it is telling us the price of corruption. What you are seeing on that helicopter is the price of corruption. I had done a write-up. Let me just see if I can get to it quickly. I give you some basic details about that helicopter, and in my view, it's emblematic of acts of corruption by institutions, and Zambia Air Force and others are at the center of this. We could have lost the life of Wamayo, Whitney Kapembwa, Mutale Nalumango. And let me just look for that quick write-up I did on the army. I give you some details that I think are very, very important. Number one, the Sikorsky 76A helicopter. It's not a Bell helicopter like the UPND were trying to say. This is a Bell helicopter that was bought by the PF. No. This is a helicopter that was purchased in 2025 and was delivered this year. The Sikorsky 76A helicopter. This particular one was made in the 1980s. It's a very old one, almost 50 years old. It's a medium-sized commercial utility helicopter, and it's designed and produced by the American helicopter manufacturer Sikorsky Aircraft. It was supplied by a company called South African Safomo Group Holdings. It's run by a very famous but controversial Israel businessman, Shai Shalem. You can Google Shai Shalem. Shai Shalem is the one that supplied the Zambian government with this helicopter. He has also supplied 3 other helicopters, 3 Bell helicopters to the Zambia Air Force, and he also supplied the Beech 200 plane to the Zambia Flying Doctor Service. I wrote about this and complained that this plane cost $1.5 million. Government paid $7.5 million. So you have one supplier who's shared in nature and has supplied over 4 aircrafts to Zambia. And the Zambia Flying Doctor Service one was of worry because it's Zambian government paid $7.5 million for an old airplane, very old airplane, that is worth around $1.3 million to $1.5 million. Overpriced by over $6 million. Who pocketed this money? And decisions like that nearly cost the life of our own vice president. And is airworthiness, 50-year-old aircraft, why should ZAF be buying 50-year-old aircrafts? Even this Sikorsky aircraft has new planes. Why didn't we buy new planes? As usual, what corruption does, you pay for a price of a new one, but you are given an old one. Pakati abantu valia. These are matters that require investigation. So that accident is not in vain. That accident is emblematic of the cost of corruption, and I would call for government to investigate. So that's about Nalumango's accident. It's been raining endorsement. Let's start with the latest one, Moses Mawere, who's Citizens' first running mate to Honorable Harry Kalava. He announced that they've had internal discussions in the party and that he had hoped that they would come to endorse Brian Munduvile. And this is the same view that we've heard from Chimbakambwili and Max, that they've been, Harry Kalava, Citizen First, as a grouping, have been having discussions with an attempt to see how they can collaborate and work with Honorable Brian Munduvile, Makebi Zulu, Tonse PF Alliance, and other alliance partners. And there was supposed to be some form of endorsement. So we saw on Tuesday, Honorable Harry Kalava called for the Central Committee to decide the fate of Citizen First and Orange Alliance in this election. What should be their role? Harry Kalava's various members of parliament that he has featured and councillors. At President Hakainde Hichilema's rally today, we saw one of his councillors endorse the UPND. Remember, Max, who was a running mate, who was a candidate for Kafue West endorsed Brian Munduwile. Today we saw Harry Kalawa's councillor, the comedian who's sitting in Pali, who was standing as a councillor, endorsed President Hakainde Hichilema. There is trouble in the House, but Harry Kalawa and the Central Committee decided that they will continue to run. And then we saw a public announcement by Honorable Harry Kalawa himself that his running mate had decided to go and support President Brian Munduwile, and he wished him well, which was magnanimous. And now, this is not the only endorsement. Andy Ford Banda, who was working with Brian Mushimba of the Organized People's Party. The Organized People's Party, Andy Ford put a catalogue of about 7 items why he felt that he could no longer proceed as running mate. Internal issues, but he cited them as critical, and he left. He informed ECZ that he was no longer a running mate. There is even an issue there of the law. We saw the ECZ chairperson, Mwangala Zalomis, announced that it will have no effect on the candidature and on the ballot papers that are being printed in Dubai. And she stated that the election will go ahead, and those people that have withdrawn after 5th July will remain on the ballots, although it will be up to the people of Zambia to choose or not. This matter, I guess, has to be tested in court, because the candidature of the president since 2016 is now joint. You are a successful candidate if you have a running mate. You cannot file alone, because in this country it requires that the running mate must be elected as vice president of the country if the ticket succeeds. So there are a lot of issues that have risen. How can a ticket remain valid if the running mate has withdrawn? If for the ticket to be valid, for your nominations to be accepted, you have to bring your running mate along. And the running mate must meet the requisite provisions of the law prescribed to be vice president and probably president of our country. So how can it be that a running mate has withdrawn and that ticket remains valid? Mwangala Zalomis says that ticket will remain valid, but this issue must be tested. It's not even a lacuna, because at nominations, for the nomination of the president to be valid, he or she requires that they go with a running mate. And the running mate must also possess requisite qualifications of the president. That's when the ticket is valid. No one can go and file nominations alone. So here is a nominated ticket, and the other limb falls out. ECZ is telling us that it is okay, the ticket will remain valid. No, I don't think so. But this is a matter that the Constitutional Court has to make determination. And, litigious persons like Isaac Mwanza or Winter Kabimba, I'm surprised that they are quiet on this matter. I thought maybe it's to do with resources or people are not interested, but this is a very critical matter. How can a ticket only become valid if you bring your running mate? But if your running mate withdraws, that ticket is valid. What is your view about this? Share with me in your comments what you think about the validity of such a ticket that has suffered withdrawal. ECZ says the elections will go on. I know there are provisions. If a candidate dies, then that election is called off, is postponed until another validly nominated candidate is accepted. That is only in death. In resignation, vacation of that office, the constitution appear weak. Hence, Mtalena Lumango claiming that the election will go ahead. But my question is very clear. How can that ticket, that can only be valid if the nomination is with the president and vice president and running mate, remain valid if one of them withdraws? How can that be? Well, share with me your comments on that matter in the comments section. The big one, Xavier Chungu, who remains incarcerated, who remains imprisoned, is Liberal Democrats Party president. He successfully brought the 1,000 supporters. He had paid the 100,000 kwacha. He filed in his nomination and he's been a candidate. But 1 week into the official campaign season being declared, he was locked up and he remains locked up behind bars. And today, Xavier Chungu has publicly endorsed the candidature of President Brian Mundubile of Tonse Pamozi Alliance, the National NRPUP party. So these were the three endorsements. Moses Mawere from Exodus Party, who was a running mate to Citizens First, Andy Ford Banda, who was a running mate to Brian Mushimba's party, Organized People's Party, and Xavier Chungu, Liberal Democrats Party, has also endorsed Brian Mundubile. Now, let's get to the gist of the matter. Let's discuss vote protection.
Why we feel that we are hated even when we are not. We feel sorry for ourselves. We feel sorry for being Tonga. Mevo, my father and my mother. I did all my education in Monze. But there's one thing that I have seen. When it is time for voting, the kind of message that is given to us, the voters, or the kind of message that is given to us, the people, it is not the message that unites the country. And it is high time the people of Southern Province realize and vote together with the whole nation, like the whole nation did in 2021. Host, I'm sorry. I want to use Tonga, and I'm not sorry for being Tonga because that is the only language I have known as a kid. So
throughout.
Thank you. Utapangi mistake. Nanda wikaba nanda kuma direct. Utapangi mistake. You know what? Nobody was na monze. You are not hated by anyone. If only muzondedwa muntu ngwe munya uzwa uzwa area yenu ko munya ko muzwa ngo muntu muzonded. Edgar Lungu wakabola mu 2029 kumonze where katuli kumonze where. What did he do? He gave land. What did HH do? He got that land and under Chief Chona. He gave that land and said build a church. What did they do? His HH said no. Once we come in.
So why is it important to protect the vote? Number one, the state of ECZ. ECZ has three key officials that are, that are clearly UPND. The chairperson, Mwangala Zalomes, member of the UPND. For the first time, we have the ECZ chairperson, who's a returning officer for the president, and for the presidential election, not a Supreme Court judge or High Court judge. Then you have McDonald Penzi. You have Zevianji Sinkala, who is the President Hakainde Hichilema's own lawyer and who was aspiring to be a member of parliament under UPND ticket just last month in Wansha. And he also wanted to be a member of the National Management Committee of the UPND. Those are worrying issues. The ECZ cannot be trusted to run a free and fair election. I think we have to open a link for the register. The register, we have a copy. You can get in touch with me and I'll send you the register, because this register would determine, I think, what we are talking about. So here are the summaries for the register. Of course, we have 10 provinces, we have 116 districts, we have 226 constituencies, we have 1,858 wards, and we have 13,529 polling stations. So 10 provinces, 116 districts, 226 constituencies, 1,858 number of wards, and the polling stations are 13,529. If past elections have shown us that there is a possibility that the appointed officers appointed to run elections can manipulate the vote, what is your role? For the observers, the EU, SADC, the African Union, and EISA, Electoral Institute of Southern Africa, and others that monitor elections, their interest in that election is extremely peripheral. It's not central like that of candidates. They'll come and monitor, were the ballot papers brought on time? Did the polling station open on time? Did it close on time? Was there violence? Did anyone prevent any other from going to vote? And was that day peaceful? And they'll compile their reports. But if you are in it to win this election, you can't be that peripheral. You have to ensure that the voting that is taking place at all the 13,529 polling stations in 1,858 wards in 226 constituencies, you have to ensure that that vote reflects the will of the voter. And how do you ensure that? We send party agents. Party agents have to be registered by ECZ. We are 30 days away from elections, 32 days away from election. Are our party agents registered? Are our party agents accredited to every polling station registered? That becomes a very key question. Number two, I have been calling here on communities that Mwilole Laba Kulusaka, the register is here, and the register is showing where you are, the number of polling stations in your area. We have a copy of this register. Maybe we should open a link so that people can download, but we can send you by e-copy, a WhatsApp copy. In your area, you can ask if the most educated person is a pastor and you think is reasonable. You can say, pastor, tukolonganikeni, tupangileniko ka polling center committee, ka polling station committee. Once a muri group, tuishibane, each polling station has up to 900 voters. You have 900 voters. It is easier for all of you to know one another. Form a chairperson and a secretary. And then get in touch with Celestine Mukandila and Zuman Zimba in Lusaka. Mwabeba, if you could not to the 900, na tuipekanya secretary ni kantwa, ni chungu, elo chairman ni mwamba. So, twakula pitamo, chilabushuku twakula mkutandalila abanenso. Bring it down to just the 900. If the polling station committees are formed, but whoever is in that community, the role they will do is two ways. Number one, they will ensure that on that day, by the 900 vaima mukuvota, mwambo kuifaya vane mulikwi, tia ni kuvota, tamula, mukulima, tamula mukuchitenshi, first again tuwe vota, tuwe ikalapalaini mwa vota. And if there is an active ward councillor, he can coordinate all the polling stations. Nedo wa vota mwakumana. Wanana tu vota Pa 18 hours, again mwabwele lako. Mukumonefe wale penda. And you can leave the chairman and the secretary around. UPND trying to harass monitors and party agents. Imwengo nga community in that local area. Kuti mwaimati hao wani olu buli bali kanya. Ba police ngaba bantu banshi mwalekelera baleo abantu. the abuse only happens because communities are not coming together to protect the vote. So parties are catalysts. They can send a party agent, but the biggest organizer in this election should be the communities. Chiria mule fwaya, firafine mule nde wumba, firafine mule vutukira kurali. That is how you should communicate in your area. Mwema voters, 900 of you per polling station. The ward might have many polling stations. Then the constituency might have many polling stations. But when you organize yourselves, kuti mwashwa pa polling station na banawa, ero mwaya kuward, ba ward nana la tuchita coordinate, ero mwaisa nomba pa constituency. If that is not done, you will lose this election. It's very, very important that you organize it at very, very local level. And the role of Lusaka then will be to send party agents, Watumakoma party agents, Vaishwana na Imumweba di Panshi. And together, you work together on that day. For party agents, is technical, is for the secretariat, and I will not discuss that because the secretariat has a duty to ensure that they register those monitors with party agents. And you know, the Tonse Pamosi Alliance is very, very lucky. It has many alliance partners. When my alliance partners, na imwe mbenu kuchita register ama party agents under your own political party. It doesn't have to be NRPUP or Restoration Party. Even you should register your agents. We are 30 days away from elections. Vushama party agents wenuna wakwate fitupa from across the country, especially in Southern Province, Northwestern Province, Western Province, Central Province. Because you may be thin as a party there. You may not have candidates. If there is any investment you need to do, is in those communities. Who is speaking to those communities to ensure that they form polling station committees? Voter turnout. Again, it will be the duty of the committees. Parapen, the candidate at the constituency or chairperson at the constituency, kucha radio station. Vaneo, I think for to vote by 9 hours once not to vote. Let's go and stand in the queue at 0304. 6 o'clock. To vote la charimo. And then you'll have ensured that the turnout is high. Because if an opposition party has to win an election, it has to rely on the mass turnout. The turnout has to be critical and high. The party agents have to ensure that when those votes are cast and counted, they are not changed. And remember, when you vote at 6 o'clock, they begin to account for the number of books that have been used, number of ballots that have been counted. The duty is, then you wait for the count. When the count is done, you ensure that you sign for that Gen 20, that G20. When you sign that, no one can manipulate that election. Elections in Zambia are won or lost at a polling station. Nangutule karipira mwangalaza lomis na bantu bakwe kulusaka tababako. Elections are won or lost at the polling station. You don't secure the polling station, you lose the election. You don't get the Gen 20 because the Gen 20, the polling officials, electoral officials are mandated to do the tallying, do the count, then record the results, and you as a party agent, you have to sign and get your copy. Work up a picture, then you send it to Lusaka, or you send it to your ward, whoever is coordinating at the ward. Remember, elections in Zambia are not like everywhere else. They are won or lost at a polling station. And then what happens when that is done, na Gen 20 mwasaina, elo nomba babula ya efira nomba toza kuri your second ballot security. Elo babula nomba ma ballot boxes ya. Vaya tuala what we call a collation center. So there are 13,529 polling stations. 1,858 wards, but they will take all those votes from polling stations in that constituency to the 226 collation centers. So at constituency level, for the election of a ward and the election of an MP, the total will be taken to the collation center at constituency level. And pararomba bambo kupenda. So, nga mwachipoka ma Gen 20 ama G20, nga wasafika pali polling station yenu, you have to ensure that the results yara mwachipoka polling stations are the ones that are aggregated, because this is now an aggregation center to see who got what. Hii polling station, wena wapenda ma polling station, tabapenda romba ma votes. This polling station got 500 for, or 400 for Hakainde Hichilema, and 500 for Brian Munduvile. Okay. This polling station, no, 200 for Hichilema, 400 for Brian Munduvile. Okay. They get the totals of summaries at polling station. Then they do an aggregate. They collect the results. Your duty there is to ensure that your results mwapoke polling station. Ngakutadi ukwabela collation center, ukwabela civic center ngakutadi, kafoni, mwatuma. And again, this is where Secretariat becomes important to ensure that those people that will assign these duties will have capacity to take a phone that can take a picture of that Gen 20 and send it. So that if they announce different results at collation center, it's not possible. These are the results. And you will have activated polling radio stations, because radio stations also do their own coverage. So you have to collaborate with radio stations. And then there will be a presidential vote. They will just be totally summary at collation center. Those results by the president are not declared. They are just announced, because only Lusaka can do the final tally. But they will be announced. You will be told who the results, what results they were, but those are the results that will be transmitted to Lusaka. The parliamentary and ward councillors will be declared, and council chairperson or mayor will be declared as winner at that local level. The presidential vote will be sent to Lusaka. So those are the critical issues. Voter turnout. Abantu bafwire baya vote balabe mwale monakurali, because in Zambia they mock at rallies. People go for entertainment. They don't go to, they are not voters. So you have to shock them that the people that turned up at the rally, also you have to ensure that they also turn up to vote. That is why the role of local communities, the role of local leadership, the role of constituency and district leadership, ilio umwela wa rali wapita makebi na mundu bilelia wapita imori ya mwashala mwambo kuombo yumulimo wa kuishibisha ati abantu, they should turn out to vote for the candidate you want. You form the polling station committees. Ayama polling station committees mwaishibana kuwa fenga abanensu bachitawa line. Nanguwa Catholic, a small community, mwaishibana who are of like mind, mwaishibana pari abo 900, dinibanga tuingalanda navo, and on that day you go and vote. Then ballot security. This is not transported by you, it's transported by the police and electoral officials. But in Anamupoka Gen 20, you don't have to worry about the security of the ballot. Nangwachibabike mofimbi, if you akuchita staff, you will have the Gen 20. Which you can show that the results have been inflated. So lidia rali ya pita tuashanga fida tushita ku crusade na mwisho washima pepwe baishwe imilimo wala kwata crusade ikalamba, but ngawa kwata crusade ikalamba, then waisa mchurch, the church is empty, then there's something wrong. You probe your junior pastors. But I think you didn't follow up. Did anyone get the results did anyone get the numbers of those that got saved? Did anyone follow up on those people that got saved at the crusade? How come the church is empty, yet our crusade was full to capacity? Similarly, how come the rallies were massive, were mega, but the turnout is small? will have failed like that pastor or man of God who called a huge crusade. Thousands stand up, give their lives to God, but his church remains empty. We shouldn't fall for that. And someone said, Ambassador, I've heard that you talked about the story of Elijah feeling alone. Yes, I did. Thank you very much for that comment. Unless you want me to repeat, so that I give you that story.
Why we feel that we are hated even when we are not. We feel sorry for ourselves. We feel sorry for being Tonga. Mevo, my father and my mother. I did all my education in Monze. But there's one thing that I have seen. When it is time for voting, the kind of message that is given to us, the voters, or the kind of message that is given to us, the people, it is not the message that unites the country. And it is high time the people of Southern Province realize and vote together with the whole nation, like the whole nation did in 2021.
Yes, for you that feels alone, that feels that you've staked your life and you're complaining to God that you don't feel the protection, you have to run away. You know, the Lord has a story in 1 Kings 19 verse 10. You know, it's a story of Elijah fleeing from Queen Jezebel. And Prophet Elijah fell into literally depression. He was into the Bible says he fell into deep despair, hiding in a cave on Mount Horeb. Then he kept on complaining to God that, Lord, I'm the only faithful prophet remaining. And that's why King Ahab and Queen Jezebel keep on harassing him. Here I am, hiding, wet, raining, dry, cold, in a cave. And the Lord, told him, says, no, be comforted. And he says, I have reserved 7,000 others who have not bowed to Baal. And they are praying. They are on their knees and I'm hearing their prayers. They are hidden for a purpose. So be comforted. You may feel alone. You are not alone. Just know the Lord has many people in the land that are praying. He's got many people that have not surrendered or have not, bowed to Baal, like 1 Kings 19 verse 10 narrates. So there are many times you feel alone, like you are waging this battle alone. You are suffering and you don't feel God's protection. Because uliweka, bali kupoka ma contracts, bali kupoka fiance. They've taken away opportunities from you. Sometimes wanafumiako na bantu besu who come to church. Bakufumiako ati dia church mwenye wakati kwa baba opposition. Wafumako abantu. And you feel alone and desperate and despair like Prophet Elijah. But Prophet Elijah says, of others, 7,000 on their knees. That's 14,000 knees praying. I don't know how many knees are praying for our country. So while we may feel despair, that we are the only ones targeted, being abused, threatened, the Lord says, I have others on their knees in the same land. I've hidden them for a purpose. Sometimes he has hidden them so that the enemy doesn't know that they are praying. Because if the enemy knows that they are praying, because remember everyone has to bow to Baal. So sometimes the Lord will hide those that are praying for the land for that same purpose, that they are also hidden from Baal and is urgent. So there'll be a few Elijahs, but many are on their knees. And that was the story of Elijah. The issue of two candidates, I think we tackled it last time, and the matter of the VIPs, tragic, almost tragic, almost tragic crash. And we are glad that she's well. We are glad that she's back on the campaign. many people would not have summoned the courage she has summoned to jump into another set of helicopters just after surviving that crash. For me, I call for investigations in the manner that helicopter was procured. It's a very old, it's almost 50 years old. Why procure such an old helicopter? And why have we procured 4 other planes from one supplier, Safoma of South Africa? Who is Safoma and who is relating with in Zambia? And then you buy a very old plane in Zambia Flying Doctor Service worth $7.5 million when the actual value of those planes, they're very old planes, they're also almost 50 years old, is around $1.5 million. Someone says, "Wike ponaya kwa maranji." Bushaya kwa maranji mulea bomfya in your campaign, because we understand that ZAF converted the 2 helicopters for Malanji into utility planes. I'm told they are, well, it's up to Zambia Air Force and their commander to answer to that. Thank you very much. We'll be opening the phone lines. Let's hear from you on matters that we are discussing. 1, voter turnout. 2, vote protection. 3, ballot security. And 4, to ensure that you form those polling station committees. Bo bantu bakwalizeringi mulolela abakulusaka tiyo ba Celestine twaleba tuminata bale asuka phone. Iyo zumantasu kama phone. The local leadership at ward and constituents do just what I've advised you. That way, you will monitor this election. You will protect the vote. What Lusaka is doing is complementary to your work. If Lusaka will buy a phone for someone, if Lusaka will send 2 party agents, it's complementary. The issue of elections to ensure that people turn out to vote and that the vote is protected is a local issue. Make it a local issue. If you're a leader in the community, go to a local radio station. When I was PS, I found over 26 licenses waiting to be given. And for 2 years, they were not given. And I gave them in one lot. I had worked in rural areas and I understood the importance of a local radio station. Use it. Use it. There is no district in this country that doesn't have a radio station. Many people now, the leadership have risen, either using CDF or using local leaders or the church. They've set up these community radio stations. Use them and communicate imbila ya Isa. So that ngatwalusa, nishtwalusa, ngatwawina, nishnatuwina, they don't steal that election from us. The phone lines are open. Let me just switch on the lines and we can hear from you.
Yeah, first of all, I just want to advise my elder brother, Brian Munduwele, wachipani chichinangu ichi, zina palibe, stizvabwina, but I want just to advise him. I've seen you are too much excited. Much as you want to warn or to push your agenda to the civil servants, my advice is this, that 1 month, minimum kambe ya sala. Nivomekeza naim, but simubwera mpawa. I want to tell you, my colleague, my brother, Munduwele, this is a brother advice. You are not coming as Republican president. Not now. Not even 2036. Not even 2041. That's an advice I'm giving you. 2026, 2021, 2036, up to 2041. You are not coming as a president. That's too very far. In brother advice I'm giving to you. You are making noise. Chongo stilles, but you wambo choka mungu.
So ngamwamona Gibbs, Liswaniso, Gilbert Liswaniso expressing such confidence. Nishmwaish but nafilubana. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution. And I'm quiet. Mwewen infumu yawe na mwangala ndeni poyama.
Mkwai waimano mwambaine inkwete kwa sinjani kwa oke na ngukina lando kwa bate kumwalanda pali water protection chingi chimwe chikankara nganji so ile kwa wene wa community kwa bati twawombera konge ofine kumwalanda lero ni ngwata ko pedi stone last week na ali push up ya kwa bati kuleba ma candidate babiri inshu mwaliranda kona bena bale isova shani was quite copper belt abe ingipa meyolo mwalasango kwe bati pali abantu babiri kuliwa ku NRPUP noku owa ku RP nomba bali abantu kuti bayimina shani abantu babiri Josefi bakachita split ya mavotes ushefi mwaliranda pona bakateka nangu ba vice president bale tontonkanya poshani pali chichingichi bantu nachisagamika sana koza abantu kuleba bale tonsana bali mumwine bale tonsana tondelomba ku mulondolwera bekala charo pali inshunga bakamini na bonse filafine babidi nangu ikabashana atotera mkwa.
Thank you very much. Someone is saying Mafinga doesn't have a radio station. But Chavinga na wota wapanga radio station yuko. Yangu tatai. I thought that was Mafinga radio. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
This is Muvita from Kafiwe.
Make your contribution, my dear brother.
My contribution, Ambassador, is on this same voter polling station committees for voter protection. I'm mainly concerned in these constituencies where we didn't feature any MPs. I would urge maybe the party secretariat so that they send people there so that they establish these committees there. It's very easy to establish voter protection committees in these constituencies where there are already MPs standing, but in those constituencies where we don't have MPs contesting, our only MPs contesting, I feel the party should go in those constituencies and set up those committees. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much. Yes, the issue of two candidates remains very paramount. And another person says, have you spoken to them? Well, the team is back in Lusaka on Monday. We hope that they will deal with some of these administrative issues and deal with decisively the issue of two candidates in Lusaka and on the Copper Belt. And someone says Zumani and Celestine should not be following the president at the rallies. They should be at the center. I agree with you. The secretariat must do what we call the last mile. This is a last mile. And the last mile must be secured. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Ambassador, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Kangwa is my name. I wanted to find out because I've seen the NRP UP has been going around Northern Province, Luapula, but I haven't seen them also going to Chilubi Island.
Yeah, I think it has to do with logistics. I don't think they can visit every district. You know, they've been given 4 days in each province.
But won't that one disadvantage them?
But, you know, that is why the purpose of committees like the provincial leadership and the candidature to go and help our candidate in places like Chilubi, where Lubwa, Lubwe and other places where our presidents may not go. Looking at the logistics, they have no helicopters, they are relying by road. I don't think they can cover every place. So ngatabele kuchembe, ngatabele kuchilubi, I think it's again the local, this is what we are saying. Tetumule vungana wakateka lionse, wonse kuri wakateke komuli, nana alashite imirimo imbi. So intungulu shinashifula but chive bambi kutwaba bweshako mwasaye bapali bali abafulile mwere bakateka na running mate tabachifika kuchembe tabachifika kuchilubi mkwai. No, that's the purpose of our program. Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and give us your contribution.
Yes,
Mutale, make your contribution.
Yeah, first and foremost, I just want to also emphasize on administratively that much, more especially at the level of secretariat, the Secretary General, both Zimba and Mukandila, I think they should stay behind and do the needful. Running an election is not an easy issue. All these things that you have mentioned from the beginning, polling agents, name it, it all depends. It actually falls directly in the office of the Secretary General to engage all the stakeholders. Who are you working with? All that is falls under the office of the Secretariat. Now, if we are seeing the Secretary General becomes the MC at the rally or at rallies, then it worries me. Okay. So he has to, as much as we are talking about voter protection, all these things that you have mentioned, Ambassador, these are the things that both Secretary Generals, they should be actually looking at. And I did mention, Ambassador, if you are not in this program or planning program for this election, looking at the vast knowledge you have, it's a collective effort to win an election. This time around, it's not about the distance, it's about a phone call. You should be added and make plans to these elections. I will not stop talking about Hari Kalaba. Hari Kalaba, Ambassador, I know it's very difficult for him to defend himself because he's not on the program. But it's clearly shown that indeed this man is a project of UPND, because in 2021, Kalaba, he was sponsored by a church. That information is there. Kalaba, he was sponsored by a church, and when you look at how all the opposition, let's go back from 2021 up to date, the only person in opposition who was allowed to have rallies is Kalaba. So you can clearly show that Kalaba, he has a very good relationship with HH. And that's the reason why when everyone is turning a back on him, all these remarks, he still has he feels that he can do it alone. So that is number one. Then coming to Alfaniso, you should be very careful. This scripture that you have just mentioned, Ambassador, where a prophet begins, he felt lonely. You speak to many lives that have, I know this is a very direct preaching, even in opposition, and the many others that are not in the country and looking, too many things. You might be in the country, might be no, but too many things have happened. So Lisoniso coming out like this, trust me, one day, this should be a lesson for him that one day should actually sit and enjoy the little things that he has managed to organize, instead of using those same little things running up and down because of too many wrong things that you have committed. Lastly, I want to be also a voice to the voter protection. UPND, if you look at the elections that have occurred in the past, I'll speak about Petauke. Petauke elections were won way before, and there was a delay where people started making noise, chanting that these results should be announced. And they went back and said, look, how many polling stations remaining? Oh, so many, maybe 3 or 4. Then they said, okay, how many voters do we have in those 4? They calculated. And how much do we have here, which have already been announced? And they said, okay, whatever, okay, let's assume that everything is given to UPND. Again, they came to a conclusion that this cannot change the tables. What am I trying to say? It was all through the voter protection. People stood, people protected, and indeed they managed to deliver. So in this case, as we are heading to the election on that day, it is not for candidates, it is not for political parties, it's about Zambians themselves, that after they vote, they should not go back and start drinking. They should come back around 17 or 10 minutes before 18 hours. They mobilize the city. They come back in the evenings and start monitoring those elections. Then, by the end of the day, we win an election. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Someone says, where is the link to the register? We'll create a register, but it should be downloadable with ECZ. But I have the register here, we'll see how I can create a link that you can download it. But you can get it also from ECZ. But it's also on many WhatsApp group. Mwakwete voters register. Each can distribute my WhatsApp groups. Konse, so that I want to wakwate. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. You've put yourself on hold. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Ya ngutu atatwala putule iko. Hello. Oh, the callers put themselves on hold and probably they're not aware. I'll ask them to call back. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba. This is Isaac calling from Kafiwe.
Isaac from Kafiwe, make your contribution.
Thank you. I will touch on a number of issues. First and foremost, I think the turnout, like you've spoken about it, the turnout should be good, and then even the voter protection. Now, therefore, however you be India, tubekatishe sana, because if na kile kati tayari basi involved, me I'm very scared. So we need to be alert. We need to be alert, and then we need to turn out in numbers. Mamona not abantu kunso kubaya baleko ngabeba president. Let other people that should be a district or a province baboyekere mo bantu okushita mobilize. Not like especially ama constituencies like Kaputa because they know to say they've got Elvis there. So that's where they can do Mingala Toshabu. Kanchibia, they've got their person. Mafinga, they've got Uyu Wafurunga no Nanchabinga. They can do their Mingala to their Mamon. So let's be alert. Let's be alert and then let's turn out in numbers. We all to say, no, these other provinces, they vote for this money. It's because those people, they wake up early, they turn out in numbers. So let us show them that we can also do this, Mamon. The ground is very fertile for everybody. Let's not even relent. The atmosphere is very good. I'm just waiting for my president to come in Lusaka. I will make an effort and go there and support the team. Thank you, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
Thank you. Mwamba, ile ndefo ukuipushako. Ichi pusho chani chakutira. Ushe ifitire umvo kutira mamwemwe. Uyu aite chufya tayari. Atinaisa. Ushe kwa alivafile wakoti wa parent wenoilia. Tawafuilo kumuikata fepa la pere. Nishikwala vero ku muremo na shani. Drondolele niko mwewa kirenza kwa ba Ambassador Mwamba.
Thank you very much.
My name is Jason M. Mwanza. I'm the Deputy National Youth Chairperson of the Tonse Alliance. This is my short response video to the overzealous National Youth Chairperson of the UPND, Gilbert Liswaniso. I have taken time to analyze a video that he did where he was trying to gain relevance by addressing President Brian Mondobele in what he claims to be advice. My short response to Gilbert Liswaniso is, Gilbert Liswaniso, you need to stick to your lane. You need to calm down because you haven't yet started walking the political path. I wish I could claim that I was your level by virtue of also being in the service of serving the young people. But you're not a young person, so you don't qualify to handle matters of the young people, and that is why you've lost touch with the reality of the youths. Intellectually too, we are too far apart. Liswaniso, you're not in touch with the reality on the ground when it comes to issues or matters of the young people. Young people have lost jobs because of your government. 4 years of load shedding took away, closed down, rather, our saloons, our barbershops, our welding centers. You failed to create jobs for young people. Young people created jobs for themselves and you came to take those jobs away. If there's anyone who needs advice today, it is you and your twerking president. You need to advise that man on how he is going to prepare for his exit, because he lied to the Zambian people that the price of millimil was going to be 50 kwacha and today millimil is being bought at 300 kwacha. He lied to the Zambian people that fertilizer was going to be 250 kwacha. Today fertilizer is fetching at 1,300 kwacha. Our farmers are crying. Our parents are suffering. Young people are dying. There is no way that you would sit behind the camera and claim that you are winning this election. just because you were in opposition for 23 years? You are a party that has shown the Zambian people that a political party can be in opposition for a long period of time and simply come and deliver rubbish to the Zambian people. And that is why we are kicking you out. Brian Mundubile, on the other hand, is the hope of the Zambian people today. He is the hope of the Zambian people, and there's no way that we are going to allow you to attack our hope, to attack the hope of the Zambian youths. So Gilbert Liswaniso, stick to your lane, because your exit is going to be very shameful and very embarrassing.
Thank you. The young man from Gen Z Group, Mwanza, sent me that quick response. He also holds leadership in the Tonse Pamosi Alliance, and he says, can I respond to Liswaniso? And that's his response. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador. Niwa Munkonge.
Mkwaiwa Munkonge mwabombeni.
Mkwai Ambassador narambira Vespali Luswaliso limbikutina alaba. Ngamwakonga sana Luswaliso amano na yapera. Nifilefya kwebati namuya kunkondo. Olo kwisasanga bonse ama commanders bafwa. Olo we captain urefu anombochite act as a commander. Don't know captain ngakutea chita command ama commander ngabafwa nishi. Mwaba capture Luswaliso ngamwakonga sana. Valisa is again come out artificially wino kwisara ndokwebati imwe bonse mwe bayingishe nchito mwe civil servants so bamingishishe nchito nchitanomba na IFK yakubomba nino, which means bali bengisha machito pakwebati bakese pango ufuntungu pa elections. So filia bara ndire wa president Mundubile okwisara ndokwebati mwe civil servants ino nchita mwe bene mufuire mu asara po mwikonka ama barefo okumingisha because Luswaliso basokere emanfi ago tire imwe fomwa ingirire nchito kubomba nomboko bomba nishani kwisapanga ubufuntungu pama elections bali bengisha akali. So Luswaliso asangire kwatita ba na balabofe babengishisha so ale bachita ale baoninga. So rwasa mfa ba Brian Mundubile basa beba po barabene bayingishe ema civil servants bali bapo ba Brian Mundubile okwebati imwe mwitarushe uko barefo okumitwara ndemisoka bako bati mwisuke mu mano ba Brian baresoka bali abantu bakwe bati fira babengisha ze kadazi ukwisa pango ufuntungu kuma elections bayitarusheko. So nomba yaba against na command yaba Luswaliso abasokere bali abantu ati baparamine ba Brian Mundubile bena basa basoka bali abantu ati bayitarushe. So nomba ekala kachintinya ba Luswaliso bali stashani balera ndapo techi tubakonke sana pantu ba ambassador abena Zambia mwaleba soko kwebati digging ngacha kwebati tamwimine ni numbers digging tia mone karomba ama elections ba ambassador mwali kokorapo tapabe chintu cyashupo kwita abantu ku rally. So fira bayisa ku rally kuri ba Mundubile parasti nomba ko bapera direction abantu mwera bakwete ili onzo kwinga boko bapera ngefine mulera ndokupanga ama sections abantu kuti bachipokerera firafine bare iperesha okuya mukumfwa mpaka bwaira balolera ati bomfwe kuri ba Mundubile efo bayipika iperesha apakoya mukuvota na before tabara mukuvota konka ama instructions aya kwebata ama elections ya uno mwaka yali ifi ero ndeko seresha ko ba ambassador babena batanda pali ba Zumani na ba Celestine basende kaire bene benda senda na uri omurongo batashe ku bantu ababatuchitire abachitire indozi babatasha tawo kwena twatotera ili barafika parusaka oro bababike na panshe bana mbana bakubika ku vote protection kwisabe kushaba mumba imwe party na ngutamwa kwa abantu bushe community yo mwabako sana good ni kwisa awe nendi pamarore oro ba mtoto kafoya ni ba mtoto kafoya baba Shon Tembo
awe ni wachanda katoto bwe
bachanda katoto wene tumwa mpera kona namba yabo ndefu andande kona bena sa bachanda katoto bwe bajishi basana ile nchende ile akurunga site kujya namukwishwa kura kufimana kuti
emkwai.
So ifya paranga barabene ba engineer beba kwebati ba kona bena kulya bonse abantu ababatu paramishenye bonse wa chifuku banda nishita yakuya mukorondoro indupo shawe sha ikaramu mishi for vote protection since nombapa afwe bapite charo chonse na chiba muno kwebati bare tungirira ba Mundubile so eri bare isa parusaka bakoseresheni baba mone ba Zumani na ba na ba Celestina pali alama aransi abiri cha muntu achite identify ngaisho bwino nchende ya murusaka na shani pako batirura vote protection yarama communities yarengiramo ninshina tuisho bako batu kunchende kusaide kuri na ba engineer okusaide kuri ba Shon Tembo okusaide kuri bonse abana bakwata kunchende ko bafuma kumishi turi sana concern mumishi ero pamurando abantu aba iminina babiri na ifo fwene fwe bantu fwe ma voters chitwafa kwentunguru sheso because na ifo turechita contribute intunguru shiba Brian Mundubire na ba Cape Zulu kubika pona ba mukandira na bazumani bali saine pama candidates so ba keminina bonse to alishibyo kwebati opa belt na Lusaka province mufure mwaba muntu RP songa twasasa ngo kwebati constituency imo bali RP babana NRPUP tuishiwe kwebati NRPUP nishina kwata problem nero aresa mukusta campaign fobene twaliringo kumweba tromba ba president bali myebo kwebati kuiminina pe ticket ya RP ali minina meya kukito ni nani waba pa RP obasadire na mwakonga pali ile list ya chitire ile ya pangire ba Zumani na ba mukandira morasanga pali chansa pro twasa mona pali ababambia bakwebati bakawita ifo kube babakawita tromba mo bakawita ufiri abamo meya muno ni RP fwe bantu fema voters kulawele tuchita campaign nishi mwakali no kukonke fire yafara ndaba president na ba general secretary benu nomba fwe bantu na ifo kutula bapera confidence na ba RP ngachako batali kurwa pura pali NRPUP pero pabana RP abali kurwa pura bafire bamwe bawo RP kwebati no ba president wa Mundubire na ba Cape Zulu barandiro kwebati ule iminina kuno afire iminina na ngo RP afire abomvya certificate ya NRPUP ngai mwasanga shani epota mure umfira ba president inshine vote tatwa kamipere nomba mwe bantu na mwe batumana amafoni na mwe baba mu community fyali umfiko kwebati kopa belt ni RP songa mwamona pali RP na NRPUP mwishibyo kwebati ulio ipate itaringiro kukwata certificate muri ya province nishe problem nombanga chako bati pali umbi umo nangurabo mfya pate iseneko bati pali umo uyota kwete problem mapara pa babiri mwe bantu mure ipusho kwebati muno mu province apapali babiri kushe province basuminishe banani kuiminina mo ngamwasasa ngati basuminishe ba NRPUP mwishibya RP alira problem ngabasara ngati basuminishe ba RP poropali NRPUP mwishibya ena euri na problem intunguru shishaliranda neshitaba kesa kuma campaign bakashita indoors omuntu wasuminishwa so abo bambi aba mukopa belt abarerushara na RP tefe chfiri okuba abo bali in discipline na kumuna mu government state tubabomfye bantu trefwa yarinshi discipline na unity bafire bakonke fireranda ba president nyomanga bafiro kumfwe fireranda ba president lero bakesa bombasha na ba president tro bakaforming a government nistabali redde ukuforming a government na ba president pose decision ya ba president final na ma general secretary aloba ambassador Ndemirombako imwe abantu bali michetekera sana kwali bakwa abantu bamo abashaba mu political party bajirimira bakwatako potential imwe yakwe bati turuma resources zote bakwete mu community kibatu bonfya imbiri kuri vote protection na kuri fiance fira kitika muri ya my elections nomba abantu barafwaya ngarepero muturo na pache ichibayishuko kwe bati kwena bana batura bwino mwalishi bakwari bawuri muturo omuntu afwaya hayishibikwa so bambassador kutumwa kitako represent ama parties ayabiri mwabali michetekera mwabebo kwe bati mwabarefo okuchita participate anything pali vote protection timwa bomvya namba yandi mwabapera nambe eno oko bali abantu ine ninjishiba bako bati mwabaranga direction the resources yo bakwete inono tibafo kulingana na community but lero barafwa efya kwe bati na bena basa mfuika kokwe bachawe kuri independence to apoka bakampanda na bena bali bombereko bali vote protection so mwaba ambassador tumwa bapa open abantu bali michetekera sana bantu shimwe ntunguru tabashitekera sana so imwe kutumwa ibika papa vote protection kubantu barabare fo kuchitako tumari resources Uto wakwete okwafwa. I submit.
Thank you very much. Let's take some more calls. Don't begin to call when we're about to close. Call now so that we hear you. We have a topic that we are discussing here. Thank you very much. The calls on this line. Yeah, please call. I'll answer. Please call. Indeed, today we are discussing the vote protection endorsements that Brian Mundwile and Makebi Zulu have received. Rob, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Yes, please. I just made my voice note. I don't know if that can be opened or I pass my contribution now.
I think you can do so.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm Chubali Musaila. I'm calling from Mansaba Mwamba. My concern is about the voter protection. We seem to be grossing over this matter, Mwamba, and unfortunately, my brother, I'm sorry, even you yourself, I think you are looking at it from a very high-level, position. We are talking right now. I don't know if 90% of the people you are targeting to carry out this voter protection are actually listening to you. We can't have volunteers for this job out there in the villages, and people will not even know how to organize themselves and how to put themselves together. We need somebody at the center now, somebody who is technically conversant with this kind of thing we are talking about. The people that we are dealing with, you've seen the crowds that we are pulling. But unfortunately, we seem to be so excited ourselves with these crowds. We are forgetting to do the most important things. Believe you me, those polling assistants, those presiding officers that are being employed are all not for you. I read somewhere where a wise man said, it's not the people who vote who decide the winner. It's actually the people who count the votes who decide the winner. And what normally happens is that these polling agents, a lot of them get demotivated for various reasons on the way. And before the vote is concluded, they actually leave the polling stations. And once they leave the polling stations, you can leave that vote to manipulation. We need somebody at the center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people at the center right now, coordinating this thing, talking to people out there. In Southern Province, we need to get to coordinate with collaborate with the independent candidates from Mwamba. We need to get to them. Guys, what are we going to do? We need to
Musaila, mwikala kumansa. Hello? Hello? Oh, this man is gone. I wanted to say, Inchtoya Moneka. Hello, caller. Yes, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
I'm calling you from Lusaka. I remain anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contribution.
I agree with the previous caller. It's the polling officers, those polling officers. You saw how that polling officer in Chawama cried, when he saw that PF candidate won. These people have been very careful. They've selected loyal people to the government to be polling officers. So I don't know how you are going to protect this vote. It's very difficult. Me, I'm not time. I've seen I've seen many elections from 1964 up to this time. This election to me is more complicated, and you have sophisticated, thieves who will steal people's votes. I don't know how you are going to do it.
I hope that you've been listening the last hour. I have bothered to lecture of how it should be done. I have bothered. I don't know what time you started listening.
Yes, Ambassador, but I've heard you, but the problem is that this ECZ are also coming up with the tricks that they are saying that once you vote, they don't want to see you hanging around. And they will bring in police. They are very sophisticated, these boys, you see.
That is why we're having this program, to really focus on this issue.
Yes, I'm sure our lawyers, the lawyers in the country, those who have the country at heart, should start, opposing some of these things right now.
Yes, no, thank you very much, my brother. Thank you. There, I've got two people waiting. Let me start with this caller. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller.
Hello, caller. Yes, Mr. Mano Mwamba.
Yes, sir. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
My name is Victor.
Victor, make your contribution.
Osaka. Yes, my main concern, Mr. Mwamba, is about I think Limatuma messages to find out, because this government that we are in, they are very much scary. And my main concern is where printing the ballot paper into talk with them by election. When the UPND candidate no name, one single name, and then they had to print 24 hours and distribute within 24 hours. So we need also to find out our pangire elama ballot paper balembere po amashina area company and in an area. That's my main concern as a security wing. Otherwise, background ndopo tuli, if we're not a group or not to about security, so my main concern in area nama ballot paper to feel kumwenekesha ukwishigo kuba printing ile so that tabachire fya ufufuntungu tulinabe nabantu abatule ikata inamane nama. I think that is my main concern, Mr. Mwamba. I thank you.
Thank you. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Mr. Mwamba. This is Didi from Ndola.
Didi, make your contribution.
Mwamba, first I'll go for Kalaba. Church never Kalaba, never project by UPND. Mwambanga mwalimu nolo twale kwato kuvota ma president ati mwabika makebizulu mwabika mundubire twali kutampo kuvota. So for twale vota twale munafo bene abale vota ku page na kukutuma. Elo twalisa munakala batako ati abantu pa ground. Fweka twalisa kali twali nwa media twali fish ba fyonse. Yabale chitafyonse bale kwata amayanda ya kupangira ko propaganda bamwamba fyonse twalifishira fyale chitabina luswaniso group yabwa bali kweta ma media house bale pangira ko propaganda mwafu efo tulandira turutushkwete ligari anachiwama bantu bale chitababula mafya ba PF ba fuala bambo ku print F mampia bambo ku chitafya fyabo fya lubana bamwamba so nomba fondebera ba kalaba. There is no way bakalaba dirari na toale vota bakalaba ishtaino no kwaisa bokulaba vota sana kulaba vota sana to bakalaba ta kwata bantu no radio station kuma kola sta kwata so nomba aba we bale chitira mu fila bakalaba bale chitate fisuma ni kwisa ko vice president ya chitireza afuma kwa bachala tuyo to join abantu kantu balenda pa ground ilo balenda pa ground abantu balenda pali mundu bire na makebi bale mfuka fi mundu bire na makebi na babene ba ruling ba UPND ebale mfuka tawa konfopo kalava tawa konfopo tumapati sisi benga toa bapola twingo tumapati tu ifisha achitaba nabo bayalanda cho ifoto akutonse turuishe pantu turuishe chintu chimu. There is no way bakalava wa muntu max yaleka yufishani naba bale ba malozo story baleka yona ushalole popota fie chirimba akutowa papefya babakalaba namwishi ba ukukwata pride kulya kubi kutowaikala anti ushaninga badini mung'omba no bapo president ila pride yakwata bakalaba bakwire balaba naba nabo so ifo twabamona kala timba project ba UPND tatuwa wapusa kona amano nelfo bachitana ngugabasa na kuledo kuba chitafia ataki ukubeba titwe taule join na kuba nove chenshi iwo letu wakali wana mkulanda paba nove kuma radio station. That is bad. Achimba kambwilia awapo uwakweba chatontonka na tishinda chitate ifi tabafuile bala bafile bakalaba chimbuna shala neka au ero na isa kukuchita protect ama vote kukuchita protect ama vote kwa choke kokudi balela ndati nabakwata ama project yabo abama civil servants nababa ma officer ma election lo ale kuntechibe kamuna fia penale ikuntawira na mushiba elo lesanga lechite chintu bamwamba chila sekesha sana chila makoka chilifanya aba bantu tabashi bati brand mundu bilyale iminina mwamfwa. That's why nanguni you chester imbirati iminina tente is a big brain bali abaje nwa big brain tabaishi babana bachitira concentrate muku pasa abakuru balela bati abavota banono kuwishi elo nomba balelo lela Brian mwali mwana stali chelo kuli bazalome kula pali bamone ma document ifirifye bwino turelo lela fetre tamba festivi finshire chikafinshi balelo lero abene beka bamuna fata pati ne mlantola chitape futwala Afrika pati na ikwata secretary na ikwata fionze fishi bili straight forward para pene fe papulire mundu bile fya kapula nokuya efo neri ashiri hapo para pene ngadi shilenge pubalwelo kai balela ndata kwa opposition nomba ino opposition baluswanisho baisa kama na shani balana pamwela na bekala bala oninga ba mundu bile baluswaniso kwena mwandiri kula bokuseka mcha baluswaniso na bakwata omwenso ama problems ya kwata luswaniso yengi emwe bafola tugambe bati bamwe mukafiro mukayikulika kuti tishu atimbira ile paya imwe pantu tamufo lekani ukuoninga luswaniso wakuta concentrate mukubombo kote tutampe kula boninga morning ishani nikusako baoninga opposition na iminina iwe luswaniso ya just campaigning. If you are listening to this program, you are just campaigning tawufula wala kitana threati wena ngumo ule kefwe bakala vote ndipo tuleto ambuku bacho bamuntu biro koko muri lekani fine bamuntu bira chiteni ifi tulatuma kuri amafoni watuma limbikuri wa mama chikamoneka apachiri fine elo also aniso iso kutuoninga uayu ukoninga bamuntu bire ngala ufumala kwa iti okay shwefo tumwene kokulya ifirubene shakwa bati ba Celestini na Zimba tabafuire baba kudabala ma advisor na secretary kulya na baleta abantu bengi sana bengire ilo binu wa mpundu chalafira kuri Max is a good man who can talk mwabaye kala na boluri ne bala sakulusaka alweni tuikale panshi numba twala bomba shani twala ekanikana shani isto ama komiti mu mishala abashani tufura bakopa bot bafure bakwata komiti bafuata bandola bafure bakwata bale update bale munani fish kuma radio station bamwamba ifoto wali bagudu bamwambala mushi bafoyaba group ya sukali bafya kanoni kuna chita monitor ma radio station ya ma programs tuwatumishana mfwebe na mma WhatsApp group ukuku station yako kuri program ya fikuri uyu ukukuli nga kwangira bali 5 nishina tushwa defender mwamufwa ifyo mwatufunde nchitoba media shayibu nishitoa defender tuwabomba bamwamba kulifya kunga kuma I think na la mitumina ku background pali ine namba kulifya kumoko mpangile ko program nalitumira na babeni okukwine nomba basanda tutuli ukutali cheni kutashani nomba tapali watu wala ba mu office nibana ni bamwamba bali ukutali bele bonso bele ikala kulya bonso takuli wala to wala batifo to amona ukuno kukulefwa iko ifine tele lo to atampo kubomba kuma radio station even if they wadi to shivelo is they wadi to tembenwe alelanda tibala ba iche bali kwa information ngabambo kubomba bengira panti ivo panshe po tuingira even nanguro kwadi batutira tukushani kulya mukulanda n'abanesu twali abachirika mufya kontrola pa mwambepe aba media mwonfo twali alondora kwa batino kuti ababadi swanatipa bana kutwala na kuma westo nokwishibana efya kulanda parade nefu fya kwapo so nomba ifola director security the mwalimu ne church tike kuba nesu ku southern yali abalependera mu fimuti bamwamba kulyako tukwete problem ni kulya kulana tukwete problem yako batukulefu kwa strong security ero ba church balefu ko kuingira musana muni filia fintu na malona babene amalojani hapo na ma NGO balefu ko kwa sana ba church balefu ko sana kwa afu kukulya ukukuma fyani ukukuma western ku southern muti ema mwaya bula ballot box ebo mulele utitemna musanka ola shuwa awo mwandini lesa anyway lesangana imyo muntu nangu mukachiteshani bamwamba nangu bakachitechishani lesangala ndafyati niwe mvako kaefi kokoleya nangu venga kumyantirira bala bafe pamwe popa isashi mina fe papa fyati abene beka balu bana tulamonoko balelu bana.
Thank you, Maya. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Hello, Nameless.
Nameless, make your contribution.
Thank you, Bamwamba. Okay, Bamwamba. Echo ndeva dila po na ine chikankala ni fya protection ya vote. Apopo ndela na ine no mtima wandi mule tonta na fichinka. Filifa kwa tule tulumuka kumwenso. Abantu kuli kubika pofela ngfe ine wine tuli over excited, which is very true. Bantu fa tule mona akifimona po. Lelo echo ndelanda na bose mwe bale mfomo bale kutika chakwe bati ukukus kuli baruri mpati bale kita notice bale mona monse mbya ama weakness ya limo ifin efota bale bombera po efin tromba bala ikata so kansha papa fuire pabu kusala pukasana pantu insta Mwamba ukusala buka sana emlandu mwenene nokwebati abalinganga ba liswaniso bayisa mutula usa ulia kububusa kwa bemba tulanda tukububusa we muntu ngata ukwete fya kulanda bantu na bamba kali okula ingilo kula muno kwebata achita target apa kutitwa achita target ali ama warning bantu abantu abatete bate mukulusa ifinto fa batch tefi isana ebabengi baletina so your protection ya mabots bamamba ifire abapo nomba inecho ndei kushaka kunaini ushata bamwamba mule ta communicate no kupushinga bantu bafala nto jukutalinga twali mupete mwandi ni weekend volunteer pushing na mulanda na bobonsi uko kwebati chiteni fi forming na ama committee muchitefine fi apo upondi stack ngana fyambiwa ngakafyambiwa ndikuko kwa mama bafuma bona balando kwebati ni ba professional badi bomba badi specialist tikalero kule team bamwamba big team ekintu kire chusha kuina kwena na tuina lero kuti batunyantibila alapa lichi anda ichibanda kachifua yoku ukuchifunya kuchifua kwa filafine chari ya fiance lelo ifo tulikuwa tuli maamacha mwambo kutea bola elo nomba mwayambo kuingisha mwaba excited bali aba ma professional bali aba isho sana bola bali aba isa nyanti aba nwina nokumiwina so apa bamwamba twakosa pusana chini elo mumwe nepende file chitika bamwamba ababayisa ngefile tufila tubatayari nabese ushapata kutaisa mchalo bantu balebeka tira pama airport ngakalaka mukashana bayishirike katira pa airport bakabira mjele tayari uyu wabutwike fyo kubutuka bala mwafano kumwafa uyo aya lukabwera no kubwela lile na breakfast aba tayari bene baba ngechimwana kwat chi amataki tefo chalo mchalo bamwamba so icho chintu madini bamwamba nachituchusha sana ukutuchusha sana elo one checho bwenepo wena abantu nabafula abalekunga ba intulisheso ngefine bose balelanda nabafula balekunga intulish nomba etituishi bali mina go nawe abantu baleza bote intulisheso bafile baishifyo esho benga chitokwe but imo mwe bambi chiteni kwefine chiteni ko organize ero nama areas ya shiri pantu nishitana ipwa tabala kwanisho kufikamo kubeko bambi bapatulukana baya chita campaign shirafine pantu abantu nabe ati unga kwaisa baso bala ya abantu basta ku campaign pantu bakakwanishe nishitana ipita sanelo bale yenda nenyotoka tuwalole shentungulushi yesu bamundu yena bashala bunse nabanaka ukunaka kwena nabanaka lelo bale sabale basunga so joga tu concepo eso ndefo afio kulande fine tata kuli na fimbi.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening,
Good evening, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
This is Mama T.
Mama T, make your contribution.
Thank you so much, Bamwamba. Bamwamba nene ndefa nkoma ileko pali ile landa baba nesu. Na bakoselera mu radio, ama TV, mwana umfa badela ndo kwebati. Before today's tafe campaign muma urban areas. And then muma rural areas, tatuchitile campaign. So nga twaisa rusa ma election bi. Tuika papa iyo. Iba mwamba tufire twairoreke chapo ni strategy wali for kubonfya ero ine kukula senda ma supporters from point A to point B. That's another strategy. Wale for bakala ndo kwebati tamwa mwena ma crowds oto akwete hapa nombopo twafika hapa na tuko sebane ama leaders besu like everyone is saying. The previous caller na badidi balando busaka sana keti bonse babefe kumokwine afire bapatukana and then na mumono kwebatifu abantu besu naba bakanyo kushitashana kubomfya amachopa bale ya by road ichi chirengero kwebati bakwate challenge ikulu sana. It has consumed a lot of time for them, so nevertheless message abantu naba kwata. But what we need now more than ever is to protect our votes, especially muma rural areas. Momu inomura koserere umuntu ngareranda pachintu arebwe kesha apofye mumfuikisheni. What are they trying to tell us? What is the message that they are putting across? Umuntu bamwambanga lefo kukuipa alalanda, but what I wish bakaidi you should blank. Now that we've heard them in every radio station, they are saying that, and they are telling people to say bamuntu biletetu muwina my elections unless in 2041. Nambanga twashitaka accurate in 2041 ni issue balelanda kwe bali mu 2041 tingafunya pofe ba HH. So mwema leaders besu isure ni mitwe, isure na meso, isure na matwi. Whatever message coming from anyone, whatever call, receive the call and listen to whatever they want to tell you. It is very, very important. If on to tulipa ground panopanshi, but in ishumule kwatako tuma information fidafina abantu baisamiela koka information. So nga mamona abantu benwene tumama phone akwasuke ni mane. Tubombere chapamu. Echo tulefo atufunye mpoyo umuntu tuwe free. Na muntu birabo baremo na kwatata kuri opposition ifyo bareba abantu. There is no opposition. Bari onaula PF thinking that tapari ifyala chitika. But we were telling them muma radio stations. We told them to say opposition mkwete ba UPND. Te opposition mkwete bantu
imwe ba UPND membership yenu mwakwata abantu banga abami voted mu 2021 bali ama members be tali abantu ba Zambia bali mi voted because of the propaganda that they used to say ba PF bali abantu abali. And I want to agree with my sister Didi from Ndola kukulando kwebati ifita tukweteri garia sabafe wino because we saw how these people manipulated abantu ba Mzambia okubonfya ligari ya Yesu ukulapuma abantu ukola stefintu ifingi nokulanda ati ni ba PF ili ayonse yali ma plans ayakusendera mu power singi fya kitike twali umfo kwebati baletwe kwebati fonga twaisa bali abale migasinga tukesabe kata number up to now no one has been arrested. What are they telling us? Who was gassing the Zambian people? The PF are in power to start campaign by gassing people. That is not true. So apa penapa tend to conquer nenabena. Mumarulo areas will tend to pose kwa manu to protect our votes. Because ukoko ina kumarulo areas uko to confirm numbers utatwa umfapo yakulafu mukokwile. Dama monitors vefu bapose kostana nane mubafunde sana echo turefaya ama votes yesu yakabe protected ground na ilanga ngalimo na papa nani kani hapa papeta uke abantu bale punda yo maps ba president wale pera speech atawe turefaya yo maps meaning that if into kafiri bwino nabene nabeshiba abena luswaniso abo etsaba lestra woni abantu nabeshiba ko batesho basitafingi so baletsina nomba muisakamana kumiso awe if a government yesu ikala ni fair government takulu kukitikisha abantu babashikwete milando awe tafyakabeko efyo muisakamana tieni bonke fye tuvotere mundu bire na makepi zulu bakese rubule chalo muibepo amwe mazambianzi muiraba foyezu kwa bulana naiti muiraba gogoti yateninga muri katushingani grass katushingani kopa pa nine kan muiraba 61 containers ya miti muiraba ngongole shoba kongola bena barebe patio twalibweshe ngongole tapari ngongole shoba bwesha era ngongole shoba senda bena tapa befe bachitamu nangu wanu tapare pone povenga sonta twali stefi bare pira maslay queens bare kondemo kwa batu wa PF bare bomba na maslay queens mone ni bena fyo bare sta ukubonje MP chacharo tentu ikatshane bane lepali ba brani muntu bile pera ampi mwe bantu pera ampi aiko nokulaba. Thank you ba mwamba.
Thank you very much. Hello caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador.
Good evening.
This is Anonymous calling from Zambia.
Anonymous, make your contribution.
First of all, I'd like to say that God is a faithful God, Ambassador.
Amen.
Looking at where we're coming from, NRPUP is barely 2 months old, and see what is done with UPND who's been there over 23 years. So we can only say God is a faithful God, and Zambians need to be on their knees praying and ensuring that we'll get a seat and exonerate Zambia, take it to another level in terms of Christianity. Now, I don't know if you've noticed one thing, Ambassador. Network na batambika lokchita kutempa Zambia. So katwisha for kesa bomba kuntanshuku network is extremely bad in Zambia. So I don't know what you can advise us in terms of securing good network. Would really appreciate on this one.
Okay, thank
you. Now coming to Hari Kalaba. This is my thought process, Ambassador. I think in his heart he might want to be with us. But, Hari Kalaba has been a person that has been very close to Prophet Shepherd Bushiri. And Prophet Shepherd Bushiri is a spiritual son to Yubere Angel. At one time, he was prophesied that he would be president. And Prophet Yubere Angel is the one that stated that he's the one that prayed. So think it's the issue of point those two spiritual leaders. That's my thought process. And then another thing that I observed today, I saw him post that police could not allow him to have a rally at a certain ground or something like that in Nakondi. So, in line with Bahari Kalaba, I'm thinking like this, because Zambia has had a history where Prophet Ibed Angel was not allowed to come to Zambia, and Prophet Ibed Angel apparently is very close with Chavinga. So, if our current leaders maybe would want to embrace Hari Kalaba, they need to speak to him through those grounds and see how he can be assured of the things that he's scared of, because maybe he's scared that his people, his spiritual people, will not be allowed in Zambia. And I think if President Brian Mundubile becomes our president, I think these are things that we need to look at seriously. He needs to come and look at these things seriously. They shouldn't restrict people so much in terms of when it comes to Christianity, because this is what is also dividing us as Zambians. Already, you see, the Zambians already, Christians, they're toothless. The church is quiet, except for the Catholic churches. And some of us that are busy in our closet praying privately. Yeah. So the next thing is that Ambassador, our leaders, the people that we are expecting to help people in voter protection and stuff like that, they are very hostile. They think if people call them, these are useless people that are calling me. They need to start listening to the people like their presidents, the leaders that have endorsed President Brian Mundubile. We have those people that are not able to pick calls. We have not those people, even when people want to give them good strategies, and they should not choose people just because they are their friends. They need to pick people that would be serious, that will not be able to run away when something chaotic happens at the polling station. So they need to start listening to the strategies that a lot of people have. I can attest that I think I would be one of those that would have a number of strategies for them. Now, Apostle, Ambassador, sorry. I always called Apostle. Maybe an apostle.
Indeed.
Ambassador. Yeah, Ambassador. The issue of people standing on, like NRPUP and Resolute Party.
Oh my, I think we've lost her. Thank you, but I think we had most of our contribution. She can still call back. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Okay, this is Teska calling from Matero, Lusaka.
My dear brother from Matero, make your contribution.
No, okay. So me, I just want to talk about vote protection. My advice is just simple. These UPND thugs, they think that they are going to rig election, but this time around we are very much resolved. And the only advice that I can give is that those rural areas, this is their target now. They want to rig election using rural areas. For example, even their advisors on public domain, we have been hearing them to say in urban areas there's a less number of people who registered to vote compared to the percentage of people who registered to vote in rural areas. So now their target, they want to use rural areas. So now my advice is just simple. Please, those people who will be selected to be protecting the votes, at least we need there's need to even take people from urban areas who will be helping those people in rural areas to protect their votes, because these UPND thugs, they will be going around in rural areas to interfere and threaten people there in villages so that they can easily rig elections. This issue of running mate ya Hari Kalaba, Moses Mawere. In my view, yes, it seems there is a lacuna on that part, but I think the way it is, if the president has resigned or died, automatically the vice president take over. So now in this case, since the vice president is the one who has resigned, leaving the president on the ballot, it simply, in my view, it simply means that the very president, if he wins elections, it means he is supposed to appoint. He is supposed to appoint the vice president. That's what the constitution is telling us to say. If the vice president has died, then the president must appoint the vice president. But on the day of voting, like general election, the president must be together with the running mate. We vote them together. But in this case, I think Hari Kalaba maybe can just appoint the vice president. Maybe. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
I will remain anonymous.
Anonymous, make your contribution.
Yes, thank you very much. For vote protection, I'm a vote member in rural areas. So, apatufikile, I feel the most important thing, firstly, kwamba nama radio programs. Since now apita Monse, Eastern Province, the Northern Circuit na kuruapula. Ukula konkomesha abantu ukula ndati, bonse mwe wa mmishi mwalishi bana. Kama mono muntu ushidite mukaya wa mumushi, bada istaniti ya fufu mtungu, mwakonka ko. Bakilireni vote lienu, litingilireni, lichiteni protect. Bantu bala amibira. Abena pambashe, abena kawambwa, jafine ba ibirero kwali kuvota ati bachinje bafwaira bakubya abakusta replace bachitotera na bachilangwa nomba na monso mu bapitena ku Eastern Province ngakwaba ama radio programs using ama radio stations ama community radio stations bakatolika bali kwata ama community radio stations monse munchende na ma district so ngakwabo kukosa posana nedi obale bakiriro kufaya ama polling agents abakala afuirisha muri okumona ofukiri yena ama radio programs alingiro kwamba kuchira kushukula bakirira bapanga fika radio bapanga fituma news don't setule ya ngapali isteni commercial break balanda pofya kuchingire vote no kubeba bekala mushimwika selanga mapusho kuvota bantu bakateka bale babantu babo kulanda ati mwikala sera pa polling station nango bali chinja ifundeli so filafine balandire byonse na bine fi what is good for the goose is good for the gander so na ifo bene monso ko tuli kuma strongholds na ifo kweba bonsa bekala mushi bantu mumishemo ba mukwiba ama vote kubebo kulanda ati ngana kwafena ka fona kutenga kapiki okulanda tifashitire nifi ese tuvotere nifi bakopa no kuchingira pakumwe bamona ufufuntungu bwechika numpanga bamona motoka yasa na kandeka kako bayalonga bamona ifi balefunya nifinshi ngani motoka ile piteo bashishibe batuma bakuti bakonka kokwebesha mfumushonse mumishi kulanda ati ichena mirandu ishire bali bonse ya muntu umo kaidi cha isa cha ishira ifo bonse iyi second independence bonse tulimbiro kuposa kwa mano ekulekera fati umwala bomba na filafine chali kale balelanda nangu ni basatu okulanda timpi atatu.
Oh, our line is cut, but I think it's very clear. We heard hello caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Hi, my name is Zoe.
Zoe, make your contribution.
Thank you. Just like everyone else has said, it's just about, voter protection in the rural areas. That is a very serious target for, voter stealing. And we really need to open our eyes and, put all the security there and plan, put up a very good plan on, how we can, protect the voters in the rural areas. It's a straightforward a place, to target us stealing of votes. So I'm not too sure, Bamwamba, if, what everyone else has said here today on your program, I don't know how you do it to forward the information, for example, to the people out there in the field, so that this can be put in place as soon as possible. And I also just want to make a contribution towards what one of my sisters has said, who called a few minutes ago, who was talking about Bakalaba and his spiritual parents. My sister, I do appreciate your contribution, and I don't mean to judge anyone, but I just want to say we need to be careful, because number one, have you done a research to see and to understand why these people were stopped from coming in the country? So if we come back and say we need to be very, we need to be tolerant, we need to be lenient because it's Christians, and we need to allow everyone in the name of Christianity, my sister, we will be lost as a country. So I do appreciate what you said, but it's my own opinion, and it's a very serious thing. We shouldn't take anyone in the name of Christianity. So try and do a research, my sister, to see why were these people stopped to come in the country. Thank you very much, Omwamba.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Thank you, Honorable Mwamba. This is Doros. I'm calling from Italy. Thank you very much and good evening.
Good evening, Father.
Yeah. First of all, I just would like to say thank you for the many people who have finally come together. I remember we've come a long way supplicating and calling for the unity of purpose. Regardless the many challenges, the infiltration in different political parties, and at a certain extent of almost disbanding all of them. But we never lost hope. For the love of our democracy, for the love of the multi-party system, we have been advocating for them to come together. I have to say thank you. I can see Copland, Kasonde Mwenda, I see Mubanda, I see Brian Mundivile with Makebi Zolo, we see Bakatotowe, we see a lot of Dinwe Mpundu, and finally today I heard that also Xavier Chungu has come on board. Atuushitasha Mwana Wandoshi, I want to say thank you. Thank you to this gentleman, because it has not been easy, first of all. So to Atotela, thank you for listening. You have listened to the cry of the many, many, many Zambian people and the crowds that we are seeing spontaneously following Brian Munduvile, Makebi Zulu and the whole team. That crowd is a confirmation of the response of the Zambian people and the blessings that the Zambian people now are giving to Munduvile. What about also the chiefs? Wonderful. There is a chief, Mwamba, a young chief yesterday. Wow, wise person. He talked about safeguarding Sujilite in Luapula. I just forgot the name of this chief. I think he is a learned person. Very, very, very intelligent indeed. And we are thankful also to the chiefs. The blessings they are giving to this team is a very good sign. Now, I would like to contribute talking about a gentleman called Liswaniso. It is also such a man. When people speak, if we listen. So I was listening carefully what Liswaniso was saying, and I learned something. I think two things captured me. One was that, sorry, that's a motorbike passing, so it's making some noise. Yeah, one is that finally, Liswaniso has recognized that the opposition now exists. That's the one thing that I captured. Finally, the National Youth Coordinator of the UPND government has recognized now, finally, that the opposition politicians have come together and really they are becoming a threat. Second thing that I observed, which was so delicate, and I remember when there was the voting of choosing the successor of Honorable Given Luinda in the PF Pamos Alliance. I remember it reminds me of what happened that time. So I come to Liswaniso. Liswaniso says, the crowds do not vote. Having too many crowds does not signify that automatically you have won the elections. So I said, thank you so much for Liswaniso to underline that. And I think the callers, there are many callers who have talked about voters protection. And many of the callers are asking also those following Mondubile and Makebe, maybe to divide themselves, to go into the rural areas and go and start campaigning. So what Liswaniso has said, Lamwamba, is confirming what even some other people are saying. Can they divide? Some of those who cannot be now good speakers, we have now understood that Sedia Chungu has come to Brian Mondubile, but can the people of Sedia Chungu now go into some other places and go and meet the people? So Liswaniso on this, opposition, listen to what he is saying. And it is very serious. You don't win election just by making a mega rally. The elections, like you said, Mr. Mwamba, at a certain time, you said, allow me to correct these numbers, 3,000 plus polling stations in the country. Is it
13,525.
Thank you so much. You mentioned the figure, and that was wonderful. 13,500 polling stations. Now, you have already reminded these people. The voters need to be known somehow in one way or another. The voters should never become ghosts. A voter should be known by someone. So, but Chifumupanda, where he's coming from, let him know some of those polling stations, know some of these numbers. Mwamba, you said it very well. I hope these leaders can now grasp your advice and start working. So Liswaniso, thank you, Liswaniso, for opening the opposition on this sensitive matter. Go and know the voters. To not just, it's not enough. Chichinka, a crowd is not enough to win elections. Now let's take a second spurs. A second spurs is to go now and knock on those 13,500 polling stations. And if you said, Mwamba, you said that the maximum number at each polling stations can be up to 900, correct? So if each polling stations is almost up to 900, it means that now those people in those areas, they should know at least more than a half. If they get more than half people, they know them. If they can reach almost to 90% of knowing these candidates or these voters, that would be wonderful. So, Liswaniso, thank you very much for reminding this opposition, because indirectly speaking, I think Liswaniso can also sense that the wind is changing, and Brian Mondubile is very close to becoming the new president coming this August. But
thank you, Father. Thank you, Father.
Don't say you have the cat in a sack if you have not yet controlled if the cat is indeed in the sack. Thank you so much. That total one.
Thank you.
All those things, and I look at what's
Hello.
wrong in here. Just a minute.
Yeah, I think someone called is on a group call. They may not be aware.
Hello, Ambassador.
Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
I will remain anonymous.
Make your contribution anonymous.
Okay. My first contribution will be on voter protection. Bamwamba, we are not docile as the opposition. What others are planning against us, we can as well do it. If the UPND are planning to rig the elections, muma strongholds yabo. Na ifana kuchitwa chita echo bale plan. It's tit for tax. So let's as well plan in the ways that they are planning. If we can do that as well. So if they are planning to say a papali polling station, they are weaker, whatever, we can as well plan so we can do that as well. Then I heard one caller from Kafue by the name of Mr. Movita, who spoke about voter protection. I think those are the people that we can as well identify to say, okay, the situation, they understand it very well on the ground. So we can as well call that Mr. Movita so that we can start implementing those water protection in places which we are not so popular. Then again on double allocation, Mr. Monkonge spoke about Kitwe to say, no, there are double allocation, whereby this one we mentioned about Collins,
yes.
Then he mentioned also about, yes. What we've observed in Copper Belt, quite all right. The presidential directives were like RP must adopt a candidate to stand in various constituencies. Now, my observation is there is one position here, Mayor. When you look at, sorry about this, when you look at AMA activities which is happening there, I've seen one Kabwita who is more active than the current whatever. So whoever is going to look at that, please, they can as well consider people who can give us a vote. Not just like, oh, the directive were like, RRP and whatever. Kabwita is more common, more popular in Kitwe than any other candidate on mayoral arrangement. Then if we are to look at Ndola Central Mulenga is more popular that we cannot. Then the west part is, there is that his fellow Patonse Balasa Pele Bama vote Kudinan if we are not very careful. Let that guy withdraw and leave that position to Mulenga so that we are not embarrassed. Thank you so much, Ambassador Mom.
Thank you very much. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good evening, Ambassador Mwamba.
Good evening.
I'm calling from Kaputa. I'm Anonymous Mkwai.
Anonymous from Kaputa, make your contribution.
Thank you. Na posha wonsa abantu bonse nokutesha wonsa ba contributions na ma observations wonsa ali pangwa pali fonse file chitika. Napo mlimo wa Afrika bonse muri bachikoseleshi. Fia kulanda ko echantashi twamuna ifitwali kwete pepo yakwebati ama opposition parties yese pamo nomba na besa pamo bachiri baleisa batukuli bankashini nsu mo bachilanda ati tedumusum tuleke fie abaisa nomba techitwale lombe chushe ba ama opposition yese yachite team up pamo inena papa that twambo kutina tibaisa nomba kaina besa na bala afa campaign ukuleta abantu babo pamo babe koi group ya tonse papa mune ba NRP UP elo chimbi ukumona palo akulanda pali voter protection kwena abakalamba bamirimu ku secretariat mwe bapita ku my elections aya aliko decent au not ilio shibe mukadiri atsongo ishishibe aya ibela ko kuli ano ya mu 2026 ku secretariat. First and foremost, tatwabala tukwate ba presidential candidate abeshibe mu kampampa ngefe bamundu bile beshibe. Nechi nachirenga ba akainde okutirimuka. First, ba akainde bali mu opposition n'emyaka n'emyaka. Kwali aba abakirire basata bene mu PF bali bakirire barupia banda baisa piana kokuli ba Levi Mwanawasa babakirira ba lungu baisa babakirira nomba ukumona kwati ba kainde bafwaya ife bapitamu ife no muntu onse apitemu like nalikele so many years nishi nala chere wokutinjikala emyaka eyingi ngai wokutu waisa shani bwangu Brian Mundubile probably wafumana kuli ka party ka PF na lisaka wira so kutu washani kuntanshi pakubika poemingala tweyingi mumwene bale chitaya ko bati nomba itutinye na voter protection bayambo kuma amapinda yakutinya tatule chita campaign mu town nation kama ile shala kumishi kashi ilibalela ndapali ba secretary general watch pani tonse pamona NR PUP ati ba Zumani na bala bambi
ba Celestine Mukandila
mkwai babwelele ku head office bale pokelela ma reports so that ngama phone kuti bale yasuka according kula kwini nangumo ese kuno kulusaka ababambi baye pa entourage frafini bale yakonsoko bale ya secretary general watchpan but ukwebati office na lolishale fyokwa bula indeed these two people ama phone ayibala bebo kuti tabasuka tachiranguke kwasuka phone nga bali pa entourage na ba president bala kukono kusheshesheshe balandeshi limbala betati it pusheni ba secretary general but nga bali seated pa desk epo ama phone ya leya kuti bale yasuka bale londolwela abantu ine efana ninga chitako contribute kulanda kaka sensitization kala pitana bonse munda chiri chimochine voter protection pakubaila nondo nishepa liobulema.
Thank you, Maya. Awe, ever thought. Oh, Maya, too many. I've cut her by mistake. I thought she had completed. She can call back. Abenaka Puta, please call back. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. You have muted yourself, caller. There's a caller.
Hello, Mr. Muke.
Yes.
Ambassador.
Yes.
I just want to make a quick contribution. I've been following the program.
Thank you very much. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from.
Yes. I'll remain anonymous, but I'm calling within Lusaka.
Anonymous, make your contributions.
Yes, I want to thank everyone who's been calling and contributing. Everything that I've said, it's in line with what we're supposed to do as a party. Yes, on water protection, I think most of the comments have been writing that to say, no, we need to protect our votes, more especially in the rural areas. Just to add on what the rest of the callers have been saying, in the rural areas, I think that's where we have a bit of a problem. I think it's important maybe for the provincial coordinators, provincial campaign coordinators, maybe to put up the monitors in each and every polling station, maybe to take note of the numbers of polling stations in a constituency. I think maybe to have a record and how many voters are on each polling station, so that at least they keep records. So that even as people go to vote, even the people that they'll put to monitor and the counting of ballots, at least they should be on the note to say, okay, on this polling station, this is the number of voters that we have, and maybe these are voters that were cast on President Brian Mundubile. Then maybe just to tally according to the numbers on the polling stations, then they can be added to the constituency. Maybe that can help us. So we just need people to be planted, more especially in the rural areas. Lusaka has no problem because a lot of people are willing to volunteer, but who do we have in the rural areas? And how do we pass on the messages? It's one and the same messages that everyone has been saying, like the same that I've been asking to say, who do we have in the rural areas? Who can help us? So the best people to help us, I think they are the people who are already there, like the provincial campaign managers and coordinators. So those are the ones that can assign. But again, the people that need to be assigned are those people that are trustworthy, the people that you can trust to say they're not sellout. They can give you the correct figures at a polling station. Not the people when they are being victimized or maybe they are being threatened, they'll easily give away votes to say, no, this is what we have. So maybe that's what we need to see. And then again, on the issue of two candidates, maybe per constituency, like where I am in Lusaka, I know there's a problem. I would give an example in Munali constituency. There are two, one for NRP and the other one for the one who's standing. So they are saying one is for President Makebi, the other one is for President Brian Munduvile. So these people have failed to come together. So that also has brought a problem. Like what the other camp did, the UPND, I think they only picked one candidate. So why can't the NRP UP do the same to say where there are two? Why not the leaders sit them down and tell them to say, okay, you take up the position. And when picking, they need to pick someone who's already known on the ground, not someone who just came because belongs to maybe President Munduvile or maybe belongs to President Makebi Zulu. But they need to look around. Amongst the two, there's one who's more known on the ground. So I think those are the issues that I wanted to contribute. Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll be taking the last few calls. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Ambassador, na wera ambassador na chiraba pali ashiri abakaraba. Ambassador ya ashiri abakaraba ide moneka kwa tiri ashiri no nomba. Fure to alikonka sana pa nishina randire fyo ifwe tatukwete problem iri yonse because abene ba mawere eba chitire withdraw soro basta withdraw baisa kuli ifwe nomba ichimpa kwishepo na samfa bakaraba birangire yabo kwati bambo kuchita ataki ifo kweba tino bantu abantu bambya bali kulya tabali wino kwambo kolondero lefingi sana yona aliko kwere ku PF tefo chifire chaba tufire twarande fintu ifilipo bakalaba problem we bakwetena ba mawere bafire bapwisha babiri na ba mawere amukati mukapati yawo ufo muntu nga tuchita indozi tatukwete po problem kumpokerera ferio chintu chimbi pali ashiri abakalaba ba ambassador tinatemwa mwatwaira ko electoral conduct yo bafunye yanyu because bali bika conduct ifyo political party ifire yakonga so ushe political party abakalabo kulingana na my election tukwete conduct between bakalaba na running mate wabo ishirishani nishu bakalaba tetiba chita sort out na ba vice babo oro again wa ICZ na bena ila conduct batupangira ko bushe ifanga lero ba Makebi Zulu ngabali landiro ko batyo na chita endorse ba HH bushe ba Munduvile kutiba bareka baba ba kuma elections beka because bali panga bene electoral conduct yo bika koromba pali itike ilera ndashani conduct yakayena mafunda yo bapanga bushe bapangire fe ba Makebi Zulu na ba Munduvile chapwa orozen kuri bakaraba na romba ko ni ba mdara besu ni ba bruru besu ni fiance na foundation ni PF watite concentrate ba munefo bala solve problem be ambo kutuchita attack pantu na ifwe chitwa ishwe fya kuchita attack rote chichwame I submit.
Okay, so I'm taking the last call. Thank you, Amunkonge. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling us from and make your contribution.
Good. I'm James from Ndola.
James, make your contribution.
I wanted to add a voice to this discussion. Ambassador, I think we shouldn't be so worried about people leaving the president alone or with councillors, they are council chairmen and mayors and MPs for doing things. Those people, they want to be they want to become councillors, they want to become mayors, they want to become MPs. They wouldn't allow someone to steal their vote. So those people with their families, their wives, their children, whereby, for example, if a councillor, the councillor cannot deceive himself. Neither the wife of the councillor can deceive himself. So even when it comes to appointing these polling agents, let's look at this from the little.
The line from
people that
Your line is very bad, my brother. I may have to cut you. Yeah, but I think we got the gist of your contribution. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution.
Oh, Mr. Mwamba, I forgot on this one. Uyu ababa lumendo ubena ground. Uyu ground you. Abana ground ubena chitamisiriti abantu. Ushabara baicha batontono ngo baba necho wapambiri. Alela ndapali ba muntu bire problem just because imbera babelele mu bali abantu bali kasabanya bali abaiche. Balabaitse bali kasabanya bali betama problems pa mubiri uko akulola kwalibula. Bale fo okulola kuli ba muntu bire bamuna ba muntu bire abene beka baba somsha bana makebi. Bali kala chira muntu ale kuta campaign uko akulola kwabula. Nombo uko akulola kwabula kula kupira ndi kuntu batuke ba tirefya bulo kulondoloka na mausa ampafira balechita. Kabili nomba babulwa kulya baba shakonse ishele nomba bambo kula kitataki ba brand mundu bile kuli uyu ground uyu na chama America firefa bala kitabela kitamisiridi abantu elo mwe bantu mwe bale umfoko mwila posa na mano kuli tubena ground.
Mayo, bari ensto ya boya dipwakale. No one even listens to them. Thank you very much. They can tumone kwa phone calls. But Mr. Ground na Mr. Awe, I think akashita kabo kale kapita. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Hello.
Hello, caller. Wakaputa Babwera, please hold on, Wakaputa. I've got another caller. Just wait. Hello, caller, please tell us your name and where you are calling us from. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. Oh.
Hello. Kaputa answering.
Wakaputa, please make your contribution. You were here earlier. Wakaputa,
natotera sana nachiputukilwa pakulanda okutila abantu bonse abalelile okutila bakalaba tabaleisa chishi chabelefi nokubeba okuti nomba twasumina niba project yabakaindi au mwe bantu bakwalesa isheni fiefu wesheni mitima nechipingo chali tukanya omutunganya ati umutunganya lubembu bakalaba ngatabalefayo kuisa ala chintu ichi akuti chitupapushe sana abaisa abashishita beshide na Yesu Kristo kwali abamupokelere kwali n'abashamupokelere n'abakalaba bene chimo chine bali kwatamba reasons yabo abene. If anybody has followed him well bena bali kwa sapo pakutila he came third nadidia he came third nedi so bali sunoko but one day he will be first nero vintu vyaka kana wisiba kainde mchalo bose twasa kama nokute twaikale fimu ba opposition is sent pamo largest political opposition party alipo ni PF nama seats mu parliament gwino so uyasusaula kushala fie katwishi. So umulandu wabakalaba tulireniresa bantu ichipingo chide nibo okutila the heart of a king is in the hands of the Lord. As the water goes where the river goes, that if you apindula n'omutima wa muntu kuti bwacha afi my Lord chero mwamuna bakalaba bayitula fya bene but ingatuamba okubalandire fya ba negative ishture chikosha kumva shafi n'abanakirira mkwa ichintu chimbi mwe bantu mweriswaniso oyu ibusheni ewalese sema kuli bene munia Zulu. If you bakalusa Lumezi constituency, how it will be next kupeta uke kuli Honorable JJ Banda fiapita fiaya. So in Cheshi Dayland if you have a negative fiachitika, but this time around it will not happen. That which he has said that ukula sokaba brand munduville. Awe tenko nkani yabo mumiri mwanangu imo. Aliko klama politics ni level yako huku iniaba but abalaba po na MP. Kansha chiriko kutalini ena. Ili alela ndokwe bati aleso kama PF. I'm sorry mkwai. Aleso kama opposition and aleso kama brand munduville. Umweso fena umwe katapantu ni kukanwa kwa kwe what's his name uyu na iliswani so alela there is no opposition. Okay, that's one level of his failure. Secondly, Aisa takaviri alanda kukana kakwe iyo PF ya UPND ya likala sana more opposition 23 years to form more opposition, so they will take every 5 years to layer iyo mkwaya bale kutika kwa bashi bali swani so na ngwa ngepoli swani so umfamu lumendo yama dumeyandi. The fact that mwalike 5 years more 20 years plus more opposition, they guarantee that mufilo kia na second term na musedi na mufozi no ichingalenga muye momonse ababeni abantu mushayishi bati ba opposition ba citizen ba voter balabeni abantu mulishile kita treat bwino mwabalaya tubunga mukabwesha tamulebwesha obunga iwe liswaniso your economy in your pocket has changed. If you ole mone kalelo pa TV tefe wale mone kero mwaisa mkuteka. So number 1, if your economy has peaked in your house balama voters abengi it hasn't peaked emlandu wini balifo kuchinja. So dilolela ndauti yo tatitwika leve 5 years apapele twajulire that one I can't allow. You can't allow as you niwebo citizen niwebo citizenship yonse yachalo nangu niwebo voters yonse yachalo population. You are an individual madizazi yove te ngalinga bakainde bawekerepo ichile ngalinga akainde awekerepo madizazi ya Zambians kukabila kwa Zambians na pali kano kashita te bonse Zambians abalefu akainde kutwalirirapo bantu ngafilaka chilanda wankashi yesu bali akulusa kabalela ndati mwebe na Zambia bonse ibushe nifye ndeke ya parking le pa presidential pavilion na magodi na madamu atushinga bana madamu mwali gold yasango kakatushinga likopa ibushe nifa ama trucks ya parking ma containers ya muti ali kuma famu uko ibushe nifa mwaikala 4 years plus ukwabula light mumayanda ibushe nifa mufipata mwabo omuti ibushe nifyo transport ikosela kofi omutengo pantu yo ine dollar mupepa takwa bama exports bapanga aya kututu kwati ama reserves nomba na pali ino shitemwe na Zambia na bamiye batukuli ama reserves mwa umeshu yo shikupa ulanga fiati ya libika deposit ku banki ile earninga interest panga ndaba kashitema kwata nechikwembe panga ndaba natabana ku school. That kind of a father to Akan, that kind of a husband to Akan. So if you bad swaniso about opposition uniba citizen balabe ni mwata na umutengo wa bungo usuma balabe ni mwata na fertilizer ni swaniso this whole Zambia te konseba kwata CDF ya bomba. Take that research ukapita nemo monse swaniso ala fertilizer ile mwatu nwine ku southern province ku northern na ku muchinga na pa luapula taba ipokere kubale akana pambale ala that's taboo na mwaka unda takwa balira balepo ka fertilizer omusango ulia so iwe umfo ngoleti la tichile funyapo bakainde nichinshi bantu balabata no bulimi ku northern province na ku central na kukopa ku northern muchinga and luapula bali abantu nabakana iyo CDF mlelo mbirisha iyo twikele po 5 years kana fish mlefu okwisachi tafimbi liswaniso ya kuchechinshi Bible that he who is faithful in a little shall be faithful in much. You have not been faithful in 5 years. So and the president and UPND. So you can't be given a second term na said in a fourth. Your professor mule pangam 2046. Te mwemukabako mkwaiba 20 ba UPND tuambika na mwishna ya from Yesu Christ. That confession I renounce it, I cancel it in Jesus' name. It will not stand.
Thank you very much. We are taking the last calls. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from and make your contribution. Hello, caller.
Yes. Good evening, Mwamba.
Yes, caller. Please tell us your name and where you are calling us from.
Yes. Mwambani ne mwewa. I'm calling you from, let me just say within Lusaka. Yes.
Make your contribution.
Mwamba, yes, tuliyaba kutotela pali program yenu iba mwamba mwa isana yena. Awe program yena na itulengo kwa twe bantu tule mone filistika mchalo. Icha kubalira pofe ba mwamba. Kuri bimwe ifyo abengi tetwishwinga tetwishive pafya more especially on voters protection. Kwali wapo imbi iyo batila ati spoiled ballot papers. Muri spoiled ballot papers ama kwali wati intellectual leaguing when people want to league elections. Ama polling agents ngabashwa kuma strongholds kulia kuma strongholds yabo kuli. Kutuba time block tuba bika kwa ama polling agents ababo. Teba kweba tiyo bafuire babike ifingu matumba then baya staff mudamu ine munani muri yawe. Kwali bo babomfya yeah balapa polling agents balaba beba na nimbibadi from the agenda by the one who wants to those polling agents to leak elections. They can just sit wherever they are seated there. While it's bana kulubantu baisho no kuno kweli kuno kwa stronghold. For instance, kweli ku southern province kuno kuli stronghold ya UPND. Then ama polling agents balasa na the impact advice kula bakali wana kulumula ndo ama illiteracy bambi na bambi kona batabeshi byo kuberenga kula bafu kuipusha twali chali bafe chintu chakwati bonse umuntu alafanga ingira mu ma offices mlango whatever umulifidia kula bakofena akamwenso so kwa fo kuipusha ku chitashani atawe chitashi nocho mule ocho tamulefwaya kunochi yacho tamulefwaya chibran mundu bile chitachide chichiteni fe chikansoling eni pofie chikansoling abo mubike pa muntu olefu mulefwaya akainde ku muchonge po ule mulefwaya then ule otamulefwa mu chikansoling ila ballot paper te bakaipende because yaba cancelled public meaning balabana kulwa bali abalingiro kuvota bakainde kwa southern province baba defranchised by advice ya tuma polling agents to ingaba promised by ama forces bambi. So leaking election telling ngiri neste figati yo kanufiba bika bushima mudefima nani mu ballot box ba staffing amudefima nani kwali bana intellectual leaking ya palati nangu ama advice ya wrong advice kwa tule bebe fyati uyo tamulefwayo uyo nani since tamulemfwaya mundu biloyo ine cancelling any pofie bana kuluba cancelling no kutwala baya posa mu ballot paper buli amulevo mulependa nishima mundu bile apita kulyanga ni ku southern province na whatever. That's an example. So ama polling agents ama campaign ashala kupali ino season ino nalitemere ile ade bakwete ku katinga ni kumwenze bali salo mumbula pokwe bati mule cheche tano kumona mabalo tukati tabamutwirire ile pwikeko na shani nango babika pwefuma inki because kulapa kupenda bakakana. So that is another area. Iya kuchitaki if ama ballot papers yabafie bayapanga yaba you cannot count them. Nishina beishwa stronghold yako ati nishimwa balabantu nishimwa poke ensambu. So ama polling agents kuti bale pela ma wrong advice. So it's better ilibale campaign apa bambiro campaign bakwate kona abantu abakusta demonstrate how to vote. Yes. Kuti fyamoneka simple ati ku cancelling apofi. Kula babambya apoka na mbiro bakambo holo bakavota apo for the first time. Kuti wapela ma advice ata kali otamulefwana imwe nani unja uri kuti cancelling apofi mu vote mu tiking epali uri omulefwa. Nishira ballot tamaka olo kubambira mbi kutsala nfati mkuchi cancelling apofe kanshi nishimwa wa votela the other. So ofo nyingate mwako feba ayama campaign ya shele ko bafwaye ko abakula kwata kufya kashitaka kuchita demonstrate kwa ngamwa mona fe polling agent ale myebe fyaso ukweba tulia shani otamulefwa ya muchitenani nishwa avotela na ngufya palama ngamwa vota pavili nishimwa sta ama votes nishida mwayona ola vote tanishi kuli kubala abantu nishaba vote chimofero kuvota mwa vile vote. So this is also leaking. So icho ninga kabila sana fi aya mwa campaign ya shala kwa aya manani aya bakwate ko Brian Mundubile na bamakepi zulu bakwate kwa abalumendo bakuchita demonstrate pakuvota kudya nokwebati ngamwa muno muntu kulya polling agent trust abama polling agents nangutwinga kwata kwa Yesu kulya na babo bafuma from the abakulonda na bakusanani awe abantu bafile bakwata kukwishi batapanga ndengira muna ondevotera niso napa
Thank you very much. I think that should be our last caller. Thank you all for your contributions. Let me look for my... Yeah, so today we're discussing vote protection, voter turnout, and ballot security. And, you know, we've implored on you to form polling station committees at your level. Someone says, but Ambassador, what is the party doing? I can't discuss what the party is doing. The party has its own program. It's supposed to employ party agents, train them and deploy them. But I think that we should make this a community issue that, you know, like in 2021, the UPND made it a community issue. They didn't have to have party agents to monitor any election. In fact, that's where even the issue of violence came in, because the community was very alert. And if anyone came who they didn't know, it's a community that was taking action. Winning power is more resolute than just rallies. We need to secure the vote, and we need to make the community participants. And like I told you, each polling station has 900 people. There is a voters register, an electronic copy that is going through your WhatsApp. WhatsApp, pass it to another, pass it to everywhere. If you have someone in the district, in Zambezi, in Chama, in Lundazi, in Nakonde, give them that copy so that at their own local level, they can identify their polling station, look for their own name, and begin to form polling station committees amongst themselves. What Lusaka do is complementary. That day, whether internet will not be there, whether it will be shut down, these are issues Lusaka is handling. But Imwe, at your own level, as district and constituency leaders, get hold of the register, form these polling station committees, and let the ward supervise the polling station, the constituency to supervise the ward, the district to supervise the constituency, the province to supervise the districts. That way, you will ensure that the will of the people of Zambia will be secured. I've gone through many contributions. Thank you very much. But I can tell you that this is a subject that we will not leave. We are only remaining. Today is 32 days to 13th August. What are we doing in the last 32 days? The message has been preached. You know, this is time like baptism. You have preached, you have converted, you have told them the truth. Now you want them to commit. Well, they should now get baptized. And 13th August is a day of baptismal. So get to every voter. And this is a duty of everyone. An election is not won, just there. An election is won or lost at the polling station. And we should emphasize on voter education. The last caller talked about how sometimes these polling agents are told to mislead our people. Kuti ayati imwe mwewena na konde mwalimu pata ichilema. So kanshinga mwaingira mu ballot mu polling booth mulia. Mwe mu kansole akainde ichilema panta mwamutemwa. And the community will not realize that they will have voted for Ichilema if they are told a lie by this full polling agent. So again, that education of who you want, either a tick or a cross, should be done at a local level. This is a duty of the Electoral Commission of Zambia. But the Electoral Commission of Zambia is not very determined to do this education very well. So it's up to us who are in this election. And someone referred to the role of candidates at ward level, and those that are standing as MPs, council chairperson or mayors. Yes, that also becomes their primary role. They become campaign managers, because at that level, as you are campaigning for yourself, campaign for the president, and also teach our people how to vote. In fact, that's why we make those mock ballots. It has to be that basic. Don't be complicated. Don't be, just make it very simple. But ensure that our people turn out and our people vote. Not just to vote, you show them how voting is done. That's how you win an election. You have to be granular in your detail. You have to be very local, very granular in your advice to our people. And to protect the vote is not a big issue that will come from Lusaka. It is the communities in their own areas that will do that. So God bless you. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for the broadcast. We'll speak to you tomorrow. Thank you. God bless you.
Mkulu alikwata makande mpala bamundubire pano lipaka subakata ndemoni ndeti pa 13 August abantu bandi kuno kunsama chifuto bale mipere kwa tema politics tulelanda abantu ikiri mu mind mu yabo ni change bafyole ne bale ikala neke bale mona mu wika shibwa echo balefu afere kingi eba mundu biyete ku mitemo ba mitemenwe abantu ikiri pofe yene yali politiza atulefu afe change so muri change yimuna yimwele mwana isa muri change bombere bikwa
kana besa sosa abantu balefu
bombere ni abantu balefu afe change bombere ni abantu ba mundu bine nyeno beba takachira kamushika senga ni kunyeno mukwaite tupose bya abantu inshita pya muri sanfwe fifine muna mwaisa efyo tusaka maneni na amafoni bali tushimya na mayo bonse bana lumanga bali tushimya so na tepa neve na setu tuisuire ni kwa mafoni
Tiletela ni nyali kuno kukaya Hakainde watonde kanadi Hakainde watonde kanadi Hakainde watonde kanadi Hakainde